And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, all over social media, all over, everywhere. And we got to talk about the president of Ukraine, Zelenskyy, and his primetime speech that he gave to Congress. They're talking about, hey, man, we need to have some aerial defense. Congress loved it, both sides of the aisle, but I'm not too sure about that. I'm not quite sure we should be doing that because I'm not trying to die behind Ukraine, are you? We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, we got to talk about this cringe TikToker. TikToker, is that how you say it? The Chinese app that operates also in America. They were, quote unquote, briefed by the White House about the situation in Ukraine. Although the mainstream media says that the Russian TikTokers were given propaganda from the Kremlin. It's not propaganda when we do it. Very interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. Also, we got to talk about Bill Maher saying that he hasn't really changed. You know, people say that he's conservative, he's on our side. No, he's still very much a liberal, but the ridiculousness of the left nowadays is not really his cup of tea. We'll talk about that. Also, we got to talk about Herschel Walker being attacked for having the Christian faith and believing in evolution. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, Kevin Durant going out to the New York City mayor saying, hey, man, your rule doesn't make any sense. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again. You guys are the best audience anywhere in the world. Couldn't do it without you guys. And if you enjoyed what you're hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We got a whole lot going on today. As you see, the chat is not on the screen, but it's always in the side when you look at it on the replay. And of course, this is a podcast. So if you want to hear this audio only, no video, no chat, no nothing, you could go to the link in the description or to your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. Links will be in the box, or just go to your favorite streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Now, shout out to all the sponsors, of course, straight from the beginning. Got to shout out to sponsors. You already know what we do. Shout out to patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information anywhere on the internet. You got to check them out right now. Of course, all my links will always be in the description, or they'll be somewhere like in the comment box or something. Wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're hearing this, it'll be there. Again, patriotpost.us, the best source of news and information. Check them out right now today. Also, go to my websites, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. You can find every video I produce has an article on that website. So nobody can never say that I ever say anything that's incorrect factually. If I give my opinion, that's a matter of opinion, whether I'm right or wrong about how I feel or my take on the thing, right? That's just up to whoever's hearing me. That is one thing. But as far as facts, if I say this is a fact, here's my source, I always have a source. Now, the source could be wrong, but I'm not wrong since I cite my source, if that makes any sense. But again, anthonyblogan.com, check it on out today. And go to the contact page, anthonyblogan.com/contact. You can find my email, my snail mail, all that good stuff right there on the contact page. Also, my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, etc. All that's right there on the website. Check it out right now today. And of course, ablmerch.com. I got some new merch coming. I had a meeting yesterday where I got some new hats, some new ideas, some brand new things that you have not seen yet. I mean, They called me. They were like, hey, man, we got some new stuff, man. Are you going to like it? So I got that coming real soon. Already ordered it. Like some things I stock, some things I don't. It depends. Some things I stock like to where I got to buy it first. Some things I drop ship and just put my stuff on it. It all depends on what's going on. But yeah, check out ablmerch.com. Links in the box. And of course, if you want the beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me, go to bhedesigns.com. All my links will be in the box. So we got a whole lot going on. I'm seeing that somebody said Juicy got out of jail. I'm not quite sure that's true. We get to all the topics, but there's a few things that's happening right now. Okay, so okay, so here's oh, you guys are right. See, you guys are really ahead of the game. I'll probably end up doing a video about this. This just happened at 4:00 today, so just about 4 hours ago. Let me go ahead and show you this. So this is an article from Deadline. It says Jussie Smollett ordered released from jail pending appeal, served less than 1 week of 150-day conviction. So as of right now, he's out. As of right now. Now, and I don't know if he would go back to jail, because if they let you out, I've never seen somebody get let out of jail while an appeal is going on. Okay. If you're in the penitentiary for killing somebody and you want to appeal it, or how about the guys on death row? You're on death row and they keep going through appeals. You're in jail the whole time. You don't get out of jail during your appeal process. So they let him out of jail. I'm not quite sure he's going to go back. That'd be really strange. The whole thing is strange. To let him out on the appeal is strange, but to send him back if he fails an appeal will also be strange. And I'm not quite sure what he's going to appeal. The facts of the case are pretty rock solid. Everybody knows what he did, so I don't really understand. But there's a little bit of text here. So he got out of jail on Wednesday, which is today. He was in Cook County Jail. A one-page order unceremoniously released by the Illinois Appellate Court today in a 2-1 decision granting the motion for the former Empire actor's lawyers for a stay of the sentence, denied an appeal by the sentencing judge last week. The defense team sought to set Smollett free while his appeal on 5 felony convictions is pending. The appellate court judge agreed, citing that Smollett would likely already have served his jail time sentence before his appeal had gotten very far. The order also noted that the actor had never been convicted of a violent crime. In fact, the paperwork's only real demand was that Smollett put up $150,000 personal recognizance bond. So pay $150,000 and you get out. So basically what they're saying is, rather than him staying in jail while the appeal went on, he could be out, because the appeal will be pointless if he was to stay in jail, because by the time the appeal process happened and was completed, he would have already served the time in jail. You see what I'm saying? But my thing is this: what are you even going to appeal? What are you going to appeal? And in the real world, meaning the non-celebrity world, nobody really cares that your sentence might be over with by the time the appeal gets done. Nobody really cares. You're going to serve your time that you already got sentenced to. That's usually how it works. But here it is. This is what's going on. So this just happened today. Jussie Smollett is out of jail pending an appeal. And in my opinion, he probably won't go back. He probably won't go back. He did a couple days in the joint. They put him in the suicide room, all this, that, and the third. He had this crazy walk out of court, talking about some, if they killed me in jail, I didn't do it, fists in the air, ridiculous nonsense. Right? But that's what's happening right now with Jussie. So we're going to see if this lasts for a while or not. Oh, his career, that's a good question. Not a question really, but somebody says he's still a lying felon with no career. I'm not quite sure that his career is done. I think he still has some gas in the tank. I believe he still has some gas in the tank. I'm not sure how much gas he has in the tank, but there is some for sure. Because, I mean, we've seen guys do a lot worse and still they're able to keep their career. And think about R. Kelly, anybody? I mean, you knew what R. Kelly was back in the 90s when he was married to Aaliyah when she was 15 and he was 27. But that's a different story, and I digress. I promise I digress. The whole point is that we've seen monsters bounce back from things like this and still have a career. But we'll see how it goes. We shall see. You know, I'm not quite sure the show he was on, Empire, is like some kind of shining beacon of light. Is not really that. And speaking about Empire and shining beacons of light, now I've seen a little bit of the new Fresh Prince. Just a quick deviation, I promise. I've seen some of the new Fresh Prince or the Fresh Prince reimagining. It's not really a reboot because it's not the same show at all. It's a reimagining, like a remix, a Bad Boy remix, a whole different song. But anyway, I've seen some of that and I've read more than I've watched. I like to read about things. I'm a reader. If I want to get down to the core of a thing, I'll read about it. But anyway, so I've read a lot about it. I've seen some of it, and they're talking about they got Ashley, the daughter. She's gay at 12 years old. They got Carlton doing cocaine. They got all kind of just weird stuff. They got Uncle Phil, the father. He's a crooked politician, and he's a conservative. And they're talking about how he's crooked and you can't relate to black people. It's like they changed this into an SJW version of the show, and also something like Empire, a bunch of drama and gay stuff and things that weren't in the original. Fresh Prince, the original show, was a good show. It was like a 90s sitcom. It had a lot of comedy in there. It was pretty lighthearted. It was positive. It had some, teachable moments. It was a really good show. But now it's like a lot of these new shows, they want to push certain narratives. They want to push a lot of this super left-leaning woke stuff that most average people don't actually like. They don't really like it, but people kind of get bullied into liking it because that's the hot thing nowadays, right? That's the hot thing, to be woke and to be gay and whatever. If somebody's gay, I don't really care too much, but I don't like the whole thing about pushing that on people that probably don't even really identify with that at all. Okay, if you want to have that type of narrative, put that on the Logo Network rather than on every single show on television. It's like, come on, what's going on? But I'll move on. My ultimate point behind that little deviation was to say that they're trying to make the new Fresh Prince into an Empire, the kind of trash that a guy like Justin Smollett would be on. So I don't think that a lot of these actors or people that do bad things are going to be without a career, because there's always some kind of trash TV show for them to be on. That's usually how it goes from my point of view, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not really telling the full story. Okay, yeah, don't say gay. Exactly, Joseph. Don't say gay. That whole thing was crazy. Like that bill. I mean, and when people talked about the bill in public, it's just hard for me to take them seriously, because how can you, well, actually the so-called don't say gay bill, when really it's an anti-grooming bill. How can anybody be against the anti-grooming bill? Seriously, how can anybody say, oh, well, we should teach kids about transgender issues? Why should kids know about trans issues? For what? Why? What's the purpose? What's going to be the benefit to them knowing about trans issues at the age of 6 and 7 in elementary school? You're talking about little kids, 2nd and 3rd grade. 1st grade, kindergarten. How are they going to benefit from learning about LGBT stuff? These kids can barely tie their shoes properly. How are they going to even understand things that, quite frankly, a lot of adults are confused about? You got adults running around not knowing who they are. Okay, they calling themselves Jane, but it looked like Jeb. You understand what I'm saying? You're looking like a whole plumber in the face and the body, but you call yourself Jane. It's like, sir, I'm not believing you at all. You're looking like Barney Rubble right now talking about your Vilma. Let's get yourself right. Get your own identity together. Stop being so confused and stop trying to confuse the children. You're confused. Right? You are kind of like lost about your own personality. You're confused about who you are. So why try and teach kids about a thing that you don't understand as yourself if you are kind of on that wave? Okay, but I'm going too deep, right? Too deep, too early. So let me just go ahead and back up. The point is that people are confused and they're trying to confuse others. And that's not cool at all. Not in the least bit. All right. So, and there's already some good questions in here, but I'm going to get through the topics. And I think a good way to go ahead and start talking about confusion and things of that nature. Let's talk about Bill Maher. Now, shout out to Bill Maher. And I think this is a good conversation to have about Bill Maher, because Bill Maher, some people think that Bill Maher is on quote unquote our side as a conservative. And I've always said Bill Maher and who else? Guys like Trevor Noah, these guys are not quote unquote on our side. They're just not as ridiculous as a person like AOC. You put Bill Maher and or Trevor Noah next to AOC, they look like Clarence Thomas in comparison. Okay. Bill Maher looks like Clarence Thomas next to AOC. But in reality, he's just Bill Maher, a normal a somewhat normal leftist. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Bill Maher. I'm not saying that I got a Bill Maher t-shirt in my closet. I don't have no shrine to Bill Maher, nothing crazy like that. I'm just saying he's a normal leftist who goes on TV and says some things that are a little bit spicy for ratings. That's it. He's not the kind of guy that's going to go on TV and start busting out crying, talking about he can't get a sex change. Or he won't go on TV wearing a Miss Doubtfire Meemaw dress. He's not going to do that. He go on TV with his regular suit on. He have a normal young lady with him. If he has a wife or a significant other, he'll talk about random stuff on the left, social justice issues, but he won't do all this weird woke stuff that they champion over there right now. He won't be in Chaz Chop throwing Molotov cocktails and hurting people. That's what the crazy, ridiculous left does that they say is normal. This is what we're supposed to be doing, right? As leftists, we got to go out here and hurt people. We got to go out here and wear wedding dresses, high heels, all of that is fully grown men. You 6'5" with a whole, pack of muscles on your back, but you look like you're about to go dance, ballroom on the other side. You about to be the spinnee. He's not that kind of guy. So when he says to Ben Shapiro, I've not changed, they've changed, I believe him 100%. You see, all this stuff, defund the police and ACAB and just ridiculous, quote unquote, woke stuff, that didn't exist up until the past, probably about 4 or 5 years, ever since Trump. Ever since Trump and ever since social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, ever since all of that stuff really started to become more prominent, that's when all this stuff got ramped up to 1,000. That's when it happened. And then you add on the music, you add on just popular culture in general, Netflix and movies, all that kind of stuff. That's what goes on. Now it's to the point where you have biological men competing against women in sports. They put it in movies. They put it in Captain Marvel. She's the strongest person on planet Earth, looking like a regular Starbucks young lady. You understand what I'm saying? You're a Starbucks barista, but you're going to save the world. How does that make sense? It doesn't. But this is what is pushed from the mainstream media to regular people. And the young people, they kind of are still developing, still trying to figure out the world. So then now they internalize it, which is why I say that poll I always mention where they said 40% of, Gen Z identifies LGBT. Although clearly you can't have that many people that are actually LGBT. That's not really possible, because if that's going on, how do you have any kind of population growth at all? We're already kind of negative because of the low birth rate, but 40%, I mean, come on. At best, it's 5%, but probably less than 2%. 40%, I mean, be for real. Matter of fact, let me find that poll right quick. 40% Gen Z LGBT. So Bill Maher is just saying, hey man, this is just weird. I'm not this kind of guy. I'm just not him. Matter of fact, here it is. So here's an even more damaging one. Let's go ahead and pause that right quick. I guess I don't want to pause. That's fine. Okay, just forget what I say. All right, check it out. So here it is on Newsweek, newsweek.com. Nearly 40% of U.S. Gen Zs and 30% of young Christians identify as LGBTQ, poll shows. 30% of young Christians, we got a problem because it's not that high. Okay. So let me see if there's anything else. The portion of the population that describes itself as gay has varied over the years, from 10% based on research by Alfred Kinsey, blah, 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 to less than 6% in a recent Gallup poll. So 10% is high, 6% might be a little bit more accurate, but 40%, it's not by accident. It's not just because there's something in the water turning the frogs gay. Shout out to Alex Jones. That's going on, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is a programming from television, from movies, from academia, K through 12, college, etc. It's to the point now where if I see a TikTok and I see a person that's dressed really crazy with a bunch of pronoun stickers on, I know what they are already. They're a teacher, and they're brainwashing your kids into believing whatever they want, which is why they were so against the Florida bill, because they can't groom kids the way that they want to. You understand what I'm saying? So Bill Maher, shout out to him. He's just against all that ridiculous, crazy stuff. So don't confuse a Bill Maher or a Trevor Noah with our friend or an ally necessarily, because they're still liberal. Same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. And I've said that a lot. People ask me all the time, how you feel with Tulsi Gabbard? Should she run for president? Would you vote for Tulsi? People say, would I vote for Tulsi Gabbard? I'm like, no, I would not vote for her. I appreciate what she says occasionally. I like that she's not a ridiculous left person. But ultimately, when you zoom out and look at her voting record, it's the same as everybody else's for the most part on the left. For the most part, I mean, it's not that much of a difference. She believes in abortion and a lot of the core issues that I don't agree with, being a conservative person. So yes, she's not a ridiculous person like AOC and Ilhan Omar, but at the same time, she's still a leftist, and we got to be able to understand that. And my next point is, a lot of people that identify as conservative aren't really. You see, they are just not ridiculously left. They say a few things that most of us agree with, but once you look at them, once you zoom out with the, the eagle eye vision and look at them, they're like a normal center leftist, not a conservative. Okay? Because it's more than just saying, okay, I want to vote for this person or that person. How do you behave? What do you do? What's going on? What's going on with your life? Okay, these things make you conservative. How you treat others, how you treat yourself, that's all wrapped up in it. And a lot of people don't really qualify for conservative, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm not trying to hand out purity tests. Oh, you're not conservative enough. I'm not trying to do that. But some people should just be okay saying, hey, man, I'm like a centrist. And that's totally fine. But let's not act like everybody who says anything that we like is on our side, because it may not be that way. They may have their own beliefs. They may be kind of centrist or even leftist, and that's totally cool. I wouldn't want a world where everybody is the same as us. I think everybody, if they are thinking properly, would be the same as us, but that's not realistic. Everybody has their own path in life. Everybody is different, and I can't expect everyone to be the same as me. I don't want no Borg type thing going on, because if you got that happening, ain't no innovation. Everybody's the same, and that ain't the wave, right? I want to get some of the ridiculous woke callers to call in and have a good old conversation, or they can get annihilated in a debate. It's fine. I enjoy that 100%. So yeah, shout out to Bill Maher, Tulsi Gabbard, Trevor Noah, somewhat sane leftists. Okay. Now, I got a spicy take for you right quick. Well, not a spicy take. I have an uncomfortable question for you guys right quick, okay? Real uncomfortable, depending upon how you see it, okay? Now, check it out. It won't be nothing weird. So, shout out to Dave Rubin. You guys know who that is, right? He is a commentator. Used to be on Young Turks. Now he's a conservative commentator. And he's gay, and he's married to a man, I suppose, right? Now, him and his husband are having babies, 2 babies. So you're asking, hey, man, how does a man get pregnant? Well, obviously they can't get pregnant. So you got a surrogate going on. Now, my question to them was, or my statement was, I'd rather y'all adopting and purchasing the baby, because if you have a surrogate, how does that really work? Aren't you buying the baby? Maybe I'm ignorant. Please pardon me. Don't nobody throw tomatoes at me. I'm just saying. This to me is kind of, it's a little different for me. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Right when I saw it, I was like kind of cringing a little bit. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to hold you. I was cringing. And some would say there should be no adoption at all. Well, I can't say that. I would want a baby to be in a 2-parent household, meaning a mom and a dad, straight away. That's the most optimal situation. But what if you got a 14-year-old that's been in the system their whole life, and then they get adopted by 2 men? I mean, it's like, okay, what's the better situation? You just stay in the orphanage or in the system until you turn 18, then you just out there on your own, or you get adopted at that age, and then you're able to have some kind of way to advance in life a little bit of a leg up. I don't know. It's just kind of tough. But what I don't think is appropriate is for men to have surrogates for children. I also think it's wrong for women to have to get sperm donors and become single moms on purpose. Like, all they want is a baby. It's like they treat kids like puppies or something. You understand what I'm saying? They treat kids like little pet dogs. I'm not saying Dave Rubin and his husband are going to do that, but I see that a lot. They want kids for selfish reasons. They don't think about what it takes to raise a kid and what they may need as far as a family structure and a home life. They want kids just because they want to have kids. It's like an impulse buy. It's like going on Amazon and going shopping. That might be a little bit of a harsh take, but that's how I feel. You guys, it might be a little bit of a mixed reaction, but that's where I'm at with it. Again, if you have a child that needs adoption in the system for a long time or whatever the case, I'm not necessarily against LGBT parents adopting, but the best situation is for kids to be adopted by a mom and a dad. That's always the best situation. Mom by herself is going to be problems. Dad by himself, going to be problems. 2 women, 2 men. In my opinion, there's going to be some issues. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys have had a different experience, but that's just what I see from my point of view. That's just me. Okay. So yeah, that's what I got for Dave Rubin. If you want to see that particular story, that's on his Twitter page, twitter.com/Rubin Report, RUBIN REPORT, Rubin Report. So shout out to them. But I may do a video on that perhaps because that one is it's a little different. It's a little bit different. Okay, I see some of the comments is kind of going back and forth. Some agree, some disagree, and that's totally fine. You know, that's totally fine. But again, not everybody is all the way conservative, and there's a little bit of a variation in thought processes from person to person, and that's cool. I like to see the differences in opinion. So yeah, we got a few more things we want to get to here. Zelensky's speech. So Zelenskyy gave a speech. Let me see if I can find some of that audio. Zelenskyy gave a speech. I think it might have been today. And during this speech, basically he was asking for more air support from the West to try and help fight off the Russians. And it's so weird because I'm watching the news and I feel like the left and the right politically, like the actual political figures, they're saying that they agree with this. And they are against Biden talking about we shouldn't do it because it's going to spark World War III. I agree with Biden on this. And you guys know I'm the biggest Biden critic on planet Earth. I'm the biggest Biden. I'm the president of the Joe Biden haters fan club. That's me. 100%. They give me like Boy Scout badges for being a Joe Biden hater. I do not like that guy at all. Okay, this man is crusty and rusty and dusty and musty. About 1,000 years old. NPC from Elden Ring. That's Joe Biden. You understand what I'm saying? He's the president. That's crazy. It's like, sir, if one strong gust of wind comes by, you're going to be on the ground. It's going to be real messy. You're going to be a whole bag of bones on the floor. But anyway, I do not like Joe Biden. Everybody knows it. But he's right when he says that we should not be giving or helping to transport planes from Poland to Ukraine to help them with the whole Russia situation, because now that'll be seen as a provocation, as an escalation from us, and now we're involved with it militarily. We're already involved with it financially, giving them $14 billion. And then they got the audacity talking about do you want to donate to Ukraine? No, I don't want to donate to Ukraine. Why do I want to give to Ukraine when y'all already took my tax money, $14 billion of it, to give to Ukraine? Why should I donate anything? I already donated already. I'm paying my taxes. Y'all beat me in the head for my taxes every year. All kind of new taxes, talking about Miss Logan, you didn't pay your taxes. When can you remit payment? How about remit? I don't got nothing to remit. Remit that cash you gave to Ukraine back to me. Then we can talk. But I'm getting emotional. I'm getting triggered. So I digress. The whole point is that there was a speech and there was a standing ovation. All right. Matter of fact, here it is. So here is some of it. Let's put it on the screen right quick. This is on Twitter, on CBS News. And let's get some sound here. So what you're hearing right now is Congress giving them a standing ovation, I think, before his speech. The whole Congress, everybody. It's like, all right, man, the theater is killing me. It's killing me because really, here's my take on Ukraine. Another spicy take. Ukraine should surrender. Point blank. They are not going to win this war. It's impossible. Russia has not really unleashed their full potential on Ukraine. And really, there's no point of the fight even happening. All they got to do is just say, hey, we're not going to sign up with NATO. We're going to be neutral. Okay? And I think I may have heard him say something like that. But then I'm hearing different reports talking about, oh, no, he didn't say that. That was a mistranslation. Look, don't let you, because what's happening here is this. Ukraine is caught in between Russia and NATO. They're being controlled right now, in my humble opinion, by NATO. NATO was using Ukraine to fight a proxy war against Russia because they don't want to fight Russia directly, because if they did, there'd be nukes involved, and that'd be called mutually assured destruction, right? The whole world would pretty much be toast because Russia has nukes, we got nukes, NATO got nukes, it'd be a wrap. So rather than having that destructive war, they want to fight Russia by way of Ukraine. It's a proxy war. Same thing we did with the Philippines in World War II to fight Japan. It's the same thing. There's no purpose in Ukraine continuing to fight. All they got to do is say, you know what, we're not going to be part of NATO. If they say no NATO, we'll be neutral, then the war ends. If they say we're not going to end, we're not going to say we're not going to be neutral, we're going to continue to fight, then the fighting will commence. It'll continue and continue and continue for however long it needs to continue until they get totally defeated or until they get their military depleted, which probably won't happen anytime soon because they're being funded by the West. And ultimately, I think NATO wants somebody, they want Russia to go a little bit too far, and then they will have an excuse to intervene. Then at that point, then they can say, oh, well, Russia, they committed a war crime. They did X, Y, and Z. They violated this particular thing. So let me have an excuse to go fight them. Just surrender. For real. Like, your people are dying for no reason. They got little kids out there, little young boys, 17, 18 out there fighting. It's like, why? Why? It makes no sense. Do you know there's 135,000 Ukrainian refugees in Russia? Did you know that? I don't want to tell you that part. They talk about all of them in Poland and Slovak and Czech and all that, but they don't talk about them in Russia. Ukrainians are the same as Russians ethnically. Kiev and Rus, that was the origin of Ukraine and Russia and Belarus. It's all the same little area, okay? From Kiev up to Novgorod and Moscow and St. Petersburg, it's all the same area. It just became different countries later, but it all came from the same thing. It's all the same Slavic people that started right there in Kiev and spread out. It's the same people. What are we doing? Russia is fighting them because they don't want to have NATO on their back door, because NATO is going to eventually aggress upon Russia and try to bully them and try to fight them that way and try to keep them in check and impose sanctions, all kind of stuff like that. They don't want that. The solution is to surrender. If we say we're going to give them air support or have a no-fly zone, a no-fly zone, how you going to have a no-fly zone when the only way to have a no-fly zone is to enforce it? So what are we going to do? We're going to shoot a Russian down? You're going to have an American shoot a Russian plane down? It'd be a wrap. It's so dumb. Just surrender. All the romance. Oh, Ukraine, pray for Ukraine. Hey, man, I'm praying for the civilians. And people like the president need to understand what's going on here and stop this ridiculousness. You could do it today. They keep having talks and negotiations. Hey, man, just say you're going to be neutral. Don't sign up with NATO. And they don't want to do it. It's ridiculous and it's foolish. Period. I mean, just stop. Like, we're going to see the same news every single day until they fall back or something happens. Right? Giving to Russia, really, ABL, look, They got to give in to somebody, because what's happening right now is that NATO's controlling them. So if you don't give in to what Russia is saying, you're giving in to what NATO is saying. There's no way out of it to where they're totally, they cannot be totally sovereign. Ukraine is a new country. It came about in 1991. Yes, they did. I know they had declared they were independent in the far west by Poland in 1918, but no, they're a new country. They came about after USSR fell. They've been part of different things all throughout their history. They were part of the Ottoman Empire, as far as Crimea and the Black Sea. They're part of the Lithuanian, Polish Empire. They're part of USSR, Kiev and Rus. They've always been something else up until recently. And ever since then, they've been controlled by NATO in the West. Let's stop doing that. Let's not act like that's not going on. But I'm getting triggered again, so I digress. I will digress. I'm reading some of the comments just to make sure I'm straight here. Okay. But yeah, either way, it's going to be NATO controls you or Russia controls you. Ain't going to be no sovereign Ukraine. Ain't no such thing. Never has been. Never has been. Not even since 91, because at that point, they became controlled by the West. Point blank, period. What they may end up doing is splitting Ukraine at the Dnieper between East and West Ukraine. West Ukraine would go to the Russians, East would go to the West and NATO. That'll probably be the best solution for both sides. Although Ukraine should just surrender to prevent any more bloodshed. All right. But yeah, I mean, don't believe me. Look it up. Just look it up and read for yourself. That's all. Okay. Said I'm good when I'm triggered. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. But we got a whole lot more here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just keep rocking and rolling. Learn something new every day. That's right. I'm reading up on it myself. Okay, now let's talk about Herschel Walker. Oh, here's another good tech I got. Another good one. Herschel Walker came out and said that he doesn't believe in evolution. Now, why is it a hot take for a Christian to make? Understand this. You know who Herschel Walker is. Herschel Walker, former football player, played for Georgia in college. Probably, if not the best college football player ever, one of the best college football players ever. Definitely one of the best, if not the best running backs in college ever. And definitely the best at Georgia. But anyway, he is now running for Senate in Georgia to take Raphael Warnock's seat. And by the way, you guys had a great comment I read from that video. One of you guys said that if Raphael Warnock is who he says he is, meaning an ordained minister, he should believe what Herschel is saying word for word. Okay, there should be no contradiction. Now, Herschel was just saying what it says in the Bible, what it says in the book, talking about God made the earth 7 days, rested on the seventh. He made man, and from man, he made woman. Took the rib from Adam, made woman. He made everything on the earth, made the sun, made everything. God is a creator. The Bible is a book of creationism. So when he said that at the church where he was speaking in Georgia, I'm not sure why that would be a hot take. I'm not sure why people would say that he's dumb and all this and that. And the funny part is people that say that he's dumb are just trying to insult him because he's conservative and he's running against Raphael Warnock. It's a political thing. It's not really anything motivated by the quote unquote science. Because if you're looking at science, first of all, you can't really mix science and faith. I mean, maybe you can, but it's an unfair argument to make because whatever I believe in, that's my faith. That's just my faith. It doesn't really matter. You can't really try to use science against my belief system, right? To make it a little bit more simple and to kind of a little less serious and less divisive, let's say I believe that honey mustard is the best sauce for chicken tendies, right? I believe that's my belief that honey mustard is the best sauce. You can't say, well, actually, science says that barbecue is the best. What science got to do with my belief? That's just my belief. That's what I feel. That's what I believe. That's what I think. That's mine. Nobody can say that I'm right or I'm wrong about my faith. Okay. Now, as long as I'm not hurting anybody because of my faith, as long as I ain't detonating no bombs or nothing, I'm cool. My faith belongs to me, point blank, period. When you try to involve science, it kind of just, it didn't make any sense for that. But let's just say we do involve science. Where's the evidence for evolution, huh? Remember as a kid, maybe you guys do or you don't, but as a kid, you saw Charles Darwin's drawings talking about, hold on, the funniest one, I said it was a cow. I think it might have been a hippo. So a hippo becomes a whale. I got to find the drawing. Y'all pardon me, please, while I look for it. And thank you all for being here yet again. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Oh, here's one of them. Oh, wait a minute. I got to find the other one I had. All right. So boom, check it out. All right. So Darwin says that over a period of millions of years, the cow or the hippo started going to the edge of the water, hanging out, rolling around, getting water, blowing water up, chilling, doing this thing, right? And then eventually, over a very long time, millions of years, the hippo became a whale from evolution. That's Darwin. That's what he says. Tell me how that makes sense. And if it does make sense, check it out. You see the drawing on the screen where you have the whale on the one side, hippo on the other side. In between the whale and the hippo, okay, 54 million years. So at the 30 or so million year mark, there should be a transitional form. That's what we call it, a transitional form, meaning some species, some kind of animal that exists in between the hippo and the whale, meaning it transitioned from the hippo to the whale. Where's the middle animal at? Okay. Like, make it a little bit more simple. The hippo is A, the whale is C. Where's animal B? No transitional forms exist anywhere on planet Earth for any organism, any animal, bacteria, nothing. Doesn't exist. They say that first, the first explanation for humans evolving was that we came from apes and chimpanzees and gorillas and orangutans and monkeys and whatnot. That was the original explanation. Then they said, well, no, we can't use that anymore because there's still apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, and no transitional forms in between that. So there's a common ancestor of all the monkeys, all the primates, and human beings. We have a common ancestor that existed a trillion years ago. But there's not one instance of that common ancestor living at any point. There's no proof of the ancestor in the fossil record. Most fossils you see that they find are shells and fish, and they find them on the land. Usually they're going to see shells, fish, mollusk, underwater stuff on top of the land. They don't find fossils of fish and whatnot in the water. They find them on the land. They find them on top of mountains like the Himalayas, very tall mountain peaks. So why do you find fossils of fish on very, very, very tall mountain peaks? And the Himalayas and whatnot, these mountains are extremely tall. If you've not really, it's kind of hard to picture how tall they are in pictures. They're very tall, extremely. You know, I've seen some mountains because, you know, West Virginia and whatnot, but that's nothing compared to the Himalayas and Mount Everest, stuff like that. They're extremely tall. How do you have fish thousands of feet in the air on top of mountains? Maybe it was a flood that happened. Maybe it was a flood and it wiped out the life that was on the land. So the dinosaurs and whatnot, they got wiped out. But you still got these big, giant animals that exist right now underwater. Like, I don't know, alligators, whales, you know, giant octopus and squid, things that look prehistoric because they were able to survive the Great Flood, if there was a flood. I don't want to go too deep right here. I'm just saying, if there was any evidence for anything, you know, at least circumstantial, there's more proof for creationism than evolution. I'm not saying either one is true or false. I'm just saying there's no evidence for evolution to say that it's the 100% fact. You can just believe whatever you want to believe. At that point, it's a faith just like creationism and Christianity. You can't say you can't prove it, science shouldn't even really be the thing. You should just look at things and be like, oh, that kind of makes sense. And what Herschel also said was how the Big Bang Theory makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense because your body, the way it works, is so perfect on the inside. How everything works together, all the systems and everything works in perfect cohesion. And even just nature, the ecosystem is beautiful when you look at it, when it's untouched by humans. It's beautiful because it's perfect. Everything works perfectly together. I mean, look at some of the cold weather animals. They got white fur coats. I mean, come on. That happened because of a mistake, like an accident. So if I just drop some stuff on the ground, if I leave it there for 1 trillion years, it's going to become some kind of beautiful, marvelous, perfect, seamless machine with no errors or flaws or anything like that. I mean, stop. Just stop. There's more evidence for creationism than evolution, although I can't say which one is true or not. But to call Herschel Walker dumb for talking about that is crazy. It's totally crazy. At the end of the day, there's faith regardless. You believe in evolution without seeing the common ancestor, without seeing transitional forms, without seeing quite a few things you need to make that true. Same thing with creationism. You can't see the creator. You can't see the people that made these things the way they are. But you look at things and you say, that makes sense for that to have been created rather than just happen by happenstance because of a bomb that blew off. And then we have nature. We have symmetry and beauty and all the kind of stuff that we see before us today. I mean, come on. You know how complex your eye is? They're trying to create the way your eye works and the way your brain works and your DNA, how complex that is. It's hard to even fathom. It's beyond us right now. We don't even know. That's why I can't say that I know for sure one way or the other. But what I do know is that this right here makes no sense. This right here is a ridiculous drawing. 100%. Okay. So yeah, that's just what it is. So yeah, shout out to Herschel Walker. Hope he wins out there in Georgia to take over Raphael Warnock's Senate seat. And again, Raphael Warnock is a minister. So if he reads his book, if he's an actual Christian, he should believe what's in his book. It says it right there in your book, sir. He can't come out and say anything about Herschel Walker at all when it comes to this. He has to agree with him. He must agree. He said it in their church and he was quoting scripture. Genesis, all of that is right there in the book. He's quoting it. You can't say he's wrong for quoting the scripture if you are an ordained minister, Mr. Raphael Warnock. What are you going to do? And you know what? I had one last thing here. It's funny how they're attacking Herschel Walker. They're talking about his intelligence level. Oh, he's dumb. He's stupid. Low IQ, all this and that. Now, if they said that about Raphael Warnock, it'd be considered racist, right? Oh, you want to call a black man dumb and stupid and slow? You know, just saying I'm the stereotype or I'm the dumb jock. I can't read and write, all this and that and the third. I'm unqualified. The reason why they're doing that is because that's how they really feel, number one. And then number two, they can't use the whole race card. When I say they, I mean the left. They can't use the race card because Raphael Warnock and Herschel are both black men. And they're both heterosexual, so they can't use the LGBT card or the race card. So then they got to just go down to mudsling and talking about you're dumb and you're stupid and your faith is stupid. Although Warnock has the same faith, but whatever. It's funny how politics works, but I shall move right along. Oh, Akbash says I'm getting kind of twisted up over this. Akbash says I'm wrong about my evolution argument. What did I say that was wrong? Or how am I getting twisted up in your opinion? I mean, here's a good question. Jay says, so do y'all believe also the earth is only 6,000 years old? I have no way of knowing that. I'm not the kind of person that says that evolution is real or creationism is real. I say that it makes more sense to say creationism happened rather than evolution, but I have no idea how old the earth is. I mean, how are you really going to know that? How would you know how old the earth is, whether it be 1 trillion years or whatever they say, or 6,000 years? How do you know that? All that I do know is that when you're talking about evidence for civilization, we went from 0 to 100 real quick, didn't we? We went from cave drawings and scrawlings to advanced writing and cookware and agriculture, like overnight. So how did that happen? What's going on with that? I mean, come on. I'm just asking questions. That's all. And when I ask these questions, I don't normally get a good answer. I usually get like kind of a deflection. But I'll move on. I'll talk more about that in a minute once we get to super chats, I suppose. But let's go ahead and go to the Cringe TikTok. Matter of fact, I want to play that because it's cussing in it. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, the NBA basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets. What he's talking about as far as a rule in New York, he's like, look, man, y'all got to fix this. It doesn't make any sense because why is it that Kyrie Irving can't play basketball in Barclays Center in Brooklyn, but he can be on the sideline? Like literally, Kyrie Irving purchased tickets to go to the Barclays Center to watch his team play. He was able to dap and, hug the players in his team. But then when he went to the locker room, he got fined $50,000. Let me see if I can find that article right quick. So he got fined for going to the locker room. Oh, the Nets got fined $50,000 for him going to the locker room. You see it right here on the screen? So hold on. Irving is not allowed to be with the Nets in the Barclays Center because he has not been vaxxed against the virus. But that's not even really true. He can be with them, just not in a locker room in Barclays Center. Okay, he can be with them on away games. So that's him right there. Look, do you see how crazy this is? Okay, so this is Kyrie Irving right there on the sideline wearing this long coat. It's kind of like an off-white coat. That's him right there. His teammate is right here to the left in the black and white jersey. He's right there. He's hugging basketball players after they get done with the game. So if you're right here, unmasked and no vax, with everybody else unmasked and unvaxxed, Barclays Center has a capacity of like 17,000 people. So it's 17,000 people in there. You're in there, unvaxxed, no mask. You can hug the players, high five, clap, eat popcorn, chicken wings, or whatever. But going to the locker room is off limits, and you got to pay a fine for that, $50,000. I mean, it makes no sense at all. What are we really doing? And the mayor says that it doesn't make any sense. Eric Adams, the New York City mayor, he agrees that it doesn't make any sense, but he's not doing anything to change it. It's so dumb. He can play away games. He can play in different cities. He just dropped 60 points, I think, against Orlando Magic in Florida. So when he's right here, he can't play or go to the locker room, but he's able to, hang out with his teammates from right here. Then he goes to Florida and has a game of his career the next day with his teammates. So you could be in a locker room in Orlando, but not in New York. This has stopped being about the virus and prevention a long time ago. Long time ago. It's not been about that in a while because it's all about just, it's all about control. It's all about them not wanting to face lawsuits as well because remember, New York City, they fired 1,400 city workers because they didn't get the vax by the deadline in February. So if they let Kyrie Irving play, then it's going to send a bad message, meaning lawsuits are going to happen. That's going to be the result. They should just stop all this nonsense right now and go back to it. Just like Ukraine should surrender, there shouldn't be any of these virus restrictions anymore. They don't work. A study came out saying they don't work anyway. The lockdown didn't work. The masks don't work. None of this stuff works. So what's the purpose? Just stop. But I think the problem is that the rules are so convoluted and ridiculous from the beginning, it's hard to get out of it. So now you just got to pretty much take the course. You got to stick with it because you already went down this road. Okay. Somebody says debate anomaly. Why would I debate anomaly? Did he say something about me? I mean, I'm not really familiar with anomaly like that. I know what he is, but I'm not sure why we would have a problem. And what would the debate be about? We're debating evolution. We're debating, what are we debating? So whoever keeps spamming that, y'all let me know what it is. Y'all let me know what we're going to debate about. I'm not really sure. All right. As long as it ain't nothing weird, I might do it. Oh yeah, evolution, I'm down for that debate, but understand this. Like I've had that debate for years. This is going all the way back to the Zeitgate days. Remember the Zeitgate when that first came out back in like, what was that, like 06, 07? So I've been kind of like on that true woke wave for many years, trying to find the truth. I've seen so much about this, it's not even really funny. So it's going to be hard to try to really defeat me in that. But you can try. It's all good, and I'll give you a fair shake. I'm not going to just try to halt the mic and mute you unless you're getting crazy, because sometimes guys going to hear and just want to show out. But beyond that, man, we can have a good conversation. It's all to the good, and no problem. But yeah, any debates, any detractors, super chat as well. That's a good way. I can read your comment. If you don't want to call in, you can super chat and I'll read it, and then I'll discuss what you got to say, or I'll address your viewpoint. That'd be a way. He's an anti-Trumper anomaly. I mean, that's fine. I mean, who isn't? Well, a lot of us aren't, but a lot of us are, and that's okay. I don't understand the whole point of anti-Trumpers now, because Trump's gone, ain't he? So what's the point in talking about Trump now? It's so weird. It's like, let's move forward, shall we? Let's move forward. Gene K said, so if a country just invaded the U.S., we should just surrender. So why should Ukraine just surrender? Well, first of all, we're not Ukraine. That's number one. But number two, Ukraine has been taken over by NATO already. See, people have this false sense of choice. They think that if Ukraine is able to defeat Russia, then they'll be sovereign. No, Ukraine is already a puppet state of the West. Already. That's already been going on. They already pretty much belong to NATO and the U.S. right now. Okay, we saw the whole thing with Hunter Biden and Joe talking about, hey man, fire that dude or you won't get this money. Joe Biden going to Ukraine years ago, making policy decisions in the state. Now imagine Xi Jinping comes to the White House talking about, hey Trump, fire that guy right there or you won't get this money. Fire him or else. I mean, is that a free country where a foreign power can come to your country and tell you what to do? So how are you going to say they're going to get sovereignty and freedom by beating Russia when in reality, Russia was not their colonizer? It's the West that's the colonizer of Ukraine. When Ukraine became quote unquote independent, they became a property of the West. Like not on paper, but again, Joe Biden went to Ukraine and it's on videotape. He said it. He was bragging about it at the CFR. He went to Ukraine and said, hey, man, fire that guy or you won't get this money. Threatening them. Well, but you will fire him because if you don't, we're going to send Obama over here. Then what? That's not a free country. They're not free already. All they're doing by not surrendering is just causing the citizens unnecessary a loss and bloodshed and displacement and destruction. For no reason. I mean, come on. Like, is that like not obvious to people? I don't understand. Yeah, the chat overlay is not here. I could put it back, but it's not here for right now because I might want to clip some of these. So I want to have I don't want you to say something crazy on the chat and then they get captured for the whole, you know what I'm saying? So the chat will always be available when you watch the replay on YouTube. It'll always be available on the side. So you can always still see the chat, just not on the screen right here. But I may bring that back, who knows? But for now, it's not. All right. Okay, we got super chats on deck right quick. I'm going to get to those, and then we're going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And, if you're just not coming in, Juicy is out of bail. He paid 150 grand. So I'm not sure how that works. Is there going to be another 150 on top of the 145 he already got to pay? Because that's probably going to be he probably won't pay the 145 now because he was released because of the appeal. I'm not sure how it's going to work. But as part of his sentence, initially he was going to pay the 145 and then do 150 days. So now he's out pending an appeal. So he could go back to jail if his appeal is rejected. But I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. I think that's pretty much a wrap. He'll probably pay the fine and that's it. $150,000. That'll probably be all. But if he goes back to jail, I'll be surprised. really, I was surprised that he went to jail to begin with. If he goes back to jail after a failed appeal, I'd be flabbergasted. I'd be completely just surprised. I mean, but we'll see. He's got to pay an appeal bond. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, let's go to the. Hold on. Somebody says that's not true, ABL. China told the NBA what to do. Is the NBA a sovereign country? Is the NBA like what's the capital of the NBA? Is it Washington D.C.? Like what country? Where is the country called NBA at? We're talking about sovereign countries, not private companies that must work with other countries if they want to do business there. That ain't the same thing. Again, have somebody come to the White House and order Donald Trump around from China, talking about, hey, you do that and do that and do that, or you won't get this. If that's happening to you, you are not a sovereign country, point blank, period. Because if you're a country, you can do certain things that a private business can't. Okay, if you're a private business, you can't just launch an attack on another business. Like you can't just launch a nuke at some other business. That's not how that works at all. But you can do that if you're a private country, depending upon the circumstances. All right, but I'm gonna get some more super chats in a minute. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning so I can make sure I get everybody what it's supposed to be gotten. And thank you to Josh Foss, who says, "What's up, ABL? After listening to the video you did on Herschel Walker, what's your take on life after death? I heard you mention you weren't religious, which I respect, but that vid got me curious on your beliefs." That's a good question. I'm not really sure about the afterlife. I think maybe you do go somewhere. Maybe you. I don't really know. I've not really been able to flesh that idea out. So I have to say I don't really know. But I'm not closed off to there being an afterlife. But I'm not sure what happens. That's a good question though. But I don't have the 100% answer. Also, hey ABL, in your opinion, has there ever been a more inept and reactionary administration regime? Well, what's happening with the Biden regime is that they're just doing things they think it's supposed to be doing. You have the interns running the ship. There's no actual leaders. They're doing whatever they're being told to from the back end. And they have a bunch of kickbacks to get and other things going on aside from your best interest. It's not even about you or I. It's about whatever they got going on. Private business or this person over there, a relationship they got going, their marriage. It's not really about us as people. They're doing things for themselves and businesses. Thank you to Byron 8899 who says, calling out hypocrisy on our government is ineffective. I think they're hurting us on purpose. If that's the case, then they should be held accountable. I'm with you. Justice Smith says they're Euro refugees, so it's okay apparently. I mean, that's on them. If they want to as refugees, that's fine. That's for the countries that accept them. Thank you to Jay who says, so do y'all also believe, okay, I already read that when it says, is the earth, a young earth? I don't know about that. Thank you to Sean Summers who says, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Are they just unlucky humans? Evolution is evident, but not to that extent. Ain't no evolution. Oh, somebody also said that evolution is the reason why humans are taller now than they were before on average. That's just changes in nutrition. Because if you go to Korea, like the actual peninsula, north and south, the northerners are much smaller than the southerners by about like a height, like a 6-inch height difference or something like that. It's not because they're different people. They're the exact same people, but there's a clear difference in nutrition. If you live in North Korea, you're trying to eat whatever you can. Eating food and being full is a thing that you're not even used to in North Korea. But in the South, there's a lot more economics. There's a lot more food available. You're able to eat appropriately to grow appropriately. You see, it's nutrition. It's not evolution that makes that difference. Okay, and the same thing can apply for the whole. It can apply for the whole world, really. If you're looking at some of the old houses in America that had these really short doorways, it's because it was kind of rare for a person to be 6 foot tall, but now it's not. You got immigration and you have better nutrition. It's different. People are much bigger now. They got to make cars bigger. I mean, that's not evolution. And see somebody is okay. They say it's evolution when somebody is, 2 inches taller on average, but when they weigh 1,000 more pounds on average, that's not evolution. Clearly, it's a nutrition of what you're eating. It's your environment as well. Okay. Now, thank you to Tiana, who says there's a creationist, Kent Hovind, who exposes the lies of evolution. I've seen Kent Hovind a lot. Shout out to Kent Hovind. I think he did a debate with somebody. It might have been Bill Nye, the chemical engineer guy. The science guy. So, yeah. Shout out to Kent Hovind. Thank you to Josh Foss, who says, did you see the race-baiting actress Taraji Henson compare Juicy to Emmett Till? Shameful. I saw that, yeah, but you got to understand, Taraji P. Henson is Juicy's co-star in Empire. So that's like her friend. She wants to defend him, but come on, Emmett Till? Like, how is that even the same at all? Okay, he literally lied on himself and used two Africans to perpetuate the lie. It was caught on videotape. Like, it wasn't even up for debate what happened. He did that. And then tried to get people to finagle something to help him out. Kim Fox and Michelle Obama's chief of staff. You got all these political favors going on, and your family. It's a whole big mess, man. That dude deserves every day of his jail sentence. Ain't no Emmett Till comparison. And if you don't know Emmett Till, you should know. But if you don't know, Emmett Till, I think he was like 15 or something. He was a very young man. And the story was that he was without a white woman, allegedly. And the white woman pointed him out. And then he wound up getting killed by a bunch of white men and put in the water. And then when they found him, he was very disfigured. It was really bad to see. But it was all a lie. It didn't even happen. Like, as far as what they say he did. The woman lied on him. To compare him to Emmett Till is just crazy. Thank you to Team Countermeasure, who says, ABL, you are on fire. I need to pick your mind. Well, hey, man, it's all good, man. Call on in. I'll get to the calls in a moment. 434-658-1220. Thank you to Catherine Knox, who says, would you do an interview with Elon Musk? Oh, of course I would. Who wouldn't do an interview with Elon Musk? If you could call me right now, I'd be like, hey, chat, you got to do an interview with Elon. Let's go ahead and get it cracking and rocking now. And what would I ask him? If I could ask him a question, I'd ask him about what he sees as far as the future of work in America, because I feel like they're trying to really push forward automation at a breakneck pace because people don't want to work anymore. Shout out to Kim Kardashian for saying that. They don't. People don't want to work. Not everybody. You guys want to work, but a lot of people don't want to work anymore. They kind of just want to chill and do nothing. So it's like, well, what happens to how do we get things done? Are they going to push forward with automation? And what things can be automated? I said it before, but I was in Texas at this bar, in a hotel bar. I wasn't drinking. I just was getting something to eat. I was in El Paso. I was eating some refried beans or something. I was turning it up. But anyway, so I'm talking to people, and the guy's like, yeah, man, they're trying to replace my job. I'm like, what do you do? It's like, I'm a pilot. They're trying to automate airplanes in the sky. You understand what I'm saying? So if they do that, then what else can they automate if they can automate airplanes in the sky? I don't know. If you're talking about modern airplanes, they're pretty much already self-flying as it is. Your commercial airliners, they pretty much already automated as it is. So at a certain point, they can just remove the pilot, have everything go on autopilot. So then what? What do we do if everything is automated for us? What's going to be what we do how do we make money at that point? All right. Also, thank you to Derek Alexander. I already wrote that one. Thank you to Valerie Rogers, who says, Putin is a madman. And thank you to Star, who says, sir, is any state in the world independent from outside influence or the idea of Ukraine surrendering? What would their citizens have a better standard of living under NATO control than Russian? Well, you see the thing, that's a good question, actually. I think there's always outside influence, but not direct control. Okay. Because we have outside influences because of certain conditions worldwide. Like right now with the gas prices, the outside influences obviously are dependence on foreign oil, dependence on Russia rather than making more oil here. Okay, we would just get oil from Russia and say to the environmentalists, hey, we're not pumping any gas or oil from Keystone XL. Take that, Republicans. But we're still getting it from overseas. So if there's an oil spill in the ocean, oh, well, at least it's not right here in America in a little spot on the ground where you can patch it right quick. But anyway, so yes, there is outside influence on things that we do. But to what extent? Is it going to be like Taiwan where they're pretty much part of China and they have no say-so? Okay, how about Tibet? Tibet used to be a sovereign country. They don't speak Mandarin. Not no more. That's part of China now. So, I mean, we're still a sovereign country. There's some places that are supposed to be sovereign but aren't. Okay, any NATO quote-unquote territory, how sovereign are you? How sovereign is Ukraine right now? Ukraine don't want to fight, but they have no choice because of what NATO was doing. And they're allowed it to happen because of the Western influence on Ukraine. They're becoming the Western place, and they're going to be a de facto NATO country, which is why they're getting so much support from NATO, but they won't get the absolute direct support of boots on the ground from foreign countries, aside from like mercs that come from different parts of the world, but not like the U.S. sending a battalion in their airplanes and whatnot, or the warships to the Black Sea through the Bosphorus Strait in Turkey. Okay, so they won't do all that. But and to get back to the question, I think that they'd be better off just surrendering and remaining neutral, which is what they were going to do, well, which is what Russia wanted them to do. Now, remaining neutral could be being under the Iron Curtain, I suppose, the old Iron Curtain. But that's better than being used by NATO to aggress upon Russia. It's better to have a neighbor that could be aggressive, not aggressive, than a neighbor that wants to use you. Because I think what's going on is NATO is giving them money. And what they want in return is for them to aggress upon Russia. Russia is saying, stop all the aggression, or we're going to invade you and take it and make you stop aggressing. If you go and just surrender, you probably won't get so much cash from the West. That's kind of what's going on. So they got to decide what's better, getting that Western money or having getting that Western money or not getting it and not having the violence. That's all. All right. So it's time for the calls here. You know the drill is. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. It's all good. If the calls don't work right, it's not my fault. Please blame the white man. Y'all know how I do. There's also an email you can call me with in Skype, so you could be right there in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen this time. I got that fixed a little bit, so you could be right there, and it'll be all good. All right. And the number to call again, 434-658-1220. On your line, took it to 9307.
Hey, what's up, ABL? It's Lloyd from Wyoming again.
All righty, what's happening?
I think I just saw that Juicy was let out of prison, and I honestly think this is a good thing. I think now the real punishment can begin because they saw he was having way too much fun in there with the other fellas, if you know what I mean.
So what are they going to do next?
I don't want to say the word since it's illegal now,
Right, yeah, I'm with you.
So I think now the real punishment can begin. Now that he's away from the rest of the fellas.
No doubt.
So I think this is probably the worst sentence he could give him. Send him home.
Hey.
So.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah, that's we'll see. But that's what I had to say. It was a silly little joke. So thanks, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Goodbye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go. 773 online I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL. It's your retired Chicago police officer, Fred. How are you?
I'm well, man. How about yourself?
So let me give a little background, ABL. So Cook County Jail, it's not prison, it's a jail. It's right next to the criminal courts building in Chicago. The Cook County Jail is to house people waiting for trial, or if you're sentenced to less than 1 year, then you go to jail. If you're sentenced to like 4 or 5 years, then you go to prison downstate. But there are some people that have been locked up in Cook County Jail for 2-3 years, but that's only because they're waiting for trial, and they themselves and their lawyers have continued the cases over and over, hoping that witnesses won't show up, that the police are on vacation and things like that. What happens is when there's a shooting in Chicago, there's some police officers go to the hospital with the victim. Other police officers guard the crime scene. The evidence technician, that's the fingerprint guy and the guy that takes the pictures and collects the shell casings and things, he's on scene. The arrestee has a right, the defendant has a right to have all those people that are involved there for his court case. Even if they're not going to be called, he has a right to have them there. So a lot of times what they do is they're hoping that that these people don't show up, and then they say, Your Honor, it's been 1.5 years. We're ready to go to trial, and they're not ready. They don't have this guy or that guy there. So, it's not unusual to give bail to somebody that is going under appeal, especially if he's gotten less than a year. So Juicy has gotten less than a year, and he got out on bail. He'll get that money back as long as he doesn't skip bail. He'll get his bond money back. But one other thing, so he got 5 months. You get good time in Cook County Jail. You only do half the time. As long as you behave yourself, you only do half the time. So he was only looking at 2.5 months, and he would have been out. So, as much as I'm against the Juicy and all that, it's not unusual that he's out on bail awaiting his appeal.
Now, here's a question. Do you believe he'll go back to jail? Like, is that possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So he what's possible is he'll have his appeal. Let's say his appeal is denied because they'll say, hey, all the evidence is here. You're not bringing us any other new evidence. He has to go and serve his time. Then he'll have time due for whatever time that he spent in jail, and then he'll do the rest of the time, which is not 5 months. Like I said, there's good time. Usually people do half the time. It's different when you're sentenced to like 6 years. Okay, you're in jail, and then your appeal is there. A lot of these guys can't make bail and all that because they just don't have the money to make bail. They can't make bail, and they're waiting on their appeal. Their appeal gets denied, and all that. So that's what's happening. So Cook County Jail is for if you're sentenced to 1 year or less than a year. I think it's up to 360 some days in jail, and that's the way that works. By the way, I just want to say I am not suicidal. Here's the thing also, ABL. His case is so ridiculous. Besides attackers, he should have hired a writer. He should have hired somebody to write the situation because it's so ridiculous what he surmised and said what happened. It's just absurd, and it's unbelievable when you look at the facts. See, during that interview that he did on ABC, he said in the beginning, I said it's so it's so. I was attacked, and I should be believed. I said it's so. Well, we don't do that as the police. As the police, if you said you went to gas station A at such and such a time, we go there. We check videotape. We trace all your steps. We look at video of you coming into your hotel. We go and check if Walgreens was open. We go check video of on the street and the sidewalk of your path to and from. We investigate the crime. We don't take your word for it. you know, and that's what happened, and it showed that it was completely ridiculous. All he had to say was, as a black man, I've been persecuted. As a gay man, I've been persecuted. And I wanted to bring light to that persecution, and I did it in the wrong way. I did it in a way that I should have never did it. I apologize to everybody that may have been hurt. I think it's a good thing to bring light upon that, and I did it in the wrong way. Just tell the truth, fess up to it, and you would have been a different kind of hero, you know? But instead, you're a laughing stock because it's so ridiculous. You're a liar. And that's why he got time, ABL. He got time for perjury. That's what he got time for. You know, once you call the police and you make it a police matter, which, by the way, I believe that he was never going to call the police. He called the police because he was on the phone with his agent or whatever, and his agent insisted that he call the police. I think he just wanted to go out there and tell a story. I was attacked, and the police aren't going to do anything anyway, so I'm not reporting it. But once you report it to the police, now it becomes a police matter. Now we're going to investigate it, and you're going to be held to that regardless of where that leads us, you know? So that's what happened in my estimation. You know, that's what happened.
Okay,
anyway,
that makes sense.
Go ahead, ABL.
I said that makes sense. You pretty much nailed it, so I'm with you 100%.
Thanks. Always a pleasure to talk to you, ABL. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Yeah, man, it makes sense to me. It's like, look, man, just stop lying. Just tell the truth. Don't come in here and lie to the court. Don't lie to the court, man. Just keep it all the way real. All right? That's what should happen here. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to 929 online. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony, how are you today?
I'm well. About yourself?
Good. So about Ihor Kolomoisky, well, he is the director of the Zelenskyy when he acted as a president. So from that, he also fund Zelenskyy campaign to run for the president and continue to financial him. Also, one thing about Kolomoisky, also he financial crackhead Brandon.
I'm having a hard
in the crackhead Brandon laptop, there is a record so that Kolomoisky demand 10% back from the crackhead Brandon. And talk about Kolomoisky, he is the one who funded the Nazi Ukraine, the ACOB that I have told you before. And before the ACOB become government military, there is two kinds. One kind is Olin Tyanibok, who is the leader of that Nazi organization. So when the time he met Joe Brandon, and there is a picture that he met Joe Brandon and shaking hand with him. Also,
so hold on, wait. So who met Joe Biden?
Who met Olin Tyanibok.
Now, who was that?
Leader of the Nazis AGOV that I just told you.
Okay, so basically, just to make sure that everybody understands what's going on, so you have these Nazis in Ukraine, right, in the government, and the leader of the Nazis in Ukraine met with President Brandon. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
With Brandon when he is a vice president, and he met with John McCain. There are photos of them. Also, the other guy named Dmitry Yeres. He was another Nazi organization called the Right Sector.
Mm-hmm.
And those two Nazis, they combine force together and become the government military. Now, the guy named Demetrius, he is now the military in chief of the Ukraine.
Okay, I see. So these people have been there for a long time, and they've been known about by the West, and they've met people, John McCain and President Joe Biden. So it's not anything new, and we're sending them a bunch of money. We just sent them, I think, $14 billion to Ukraine. So I wonder how much of that money would get into the Nazis' hands that are actually over there in their military, in their government. That's not very good.
Yes. Also, I want to talk about the two sides, the Ukraine side versus the Russian side. And guess what I told you? Russian, they had Nazis. They had Nazis too. Putin, he had a Nazis too. And he had bunch of Allah Akbar too. Allah Akbar, Nazis, and bunch of child rapists on the both sides, Ukraine and Russian. Now they're fighting with order.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Both are extremists. This is the reason why Tucker Carlson, he was right. We cannot interfere the foreign world. Let those pedophile or child molester, let them kill with order. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, I mean, let's not interfere with their business. Let them handle that, and we take care of our business, because they have a lot of things over there that are not right, things that shouldn't be going on. So again, like you said, let them handle that, and we take care of ourselves. But thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Oh, yes. And one last thing before I leave, I want to call the voter, the Trump supporter. Please, when you vote a Republican candidate, please know who is that person is. Please know if that candidate is part of the goal of the World Economic Forum. Because guess what? Do you know Greg Abbott?
Greg Abbott,
Texas
yeah.
governor?
Yeah, Texas.
He was part of that code. It is the reason why he never shut down the border. Now, today, the Grant, the Mexico Grant, they just opened fire and burned near the Texas border.
Wow. Okay. Well, I thank you for that. That's interesting. I think that's important to know, because sometimes we just vote Republican and don't understand what's going on, but we got to make sure who we're voting for, if they're part of the World Economic Forum, if they have a questionable voting record, that really matters, because you have guys like Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney, and others that are not really good people. But thank you for your call. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes. I will see you next week.
All right, now.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
The salt must flow.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Shout out to him. Good caller. Yeah, the accent, I work with it, man. A lot of good information, actually. World Economic Forum and what's going on with Ukraine and the kind of people they got there. You know, Ukraine is painted as this innocent. Ukraine is painted like a little bunny or something that's just being picked on by a bunch of wild dogs. But is it like that, really? I mean, nobody is without flaw, in my opinion. But let's keep on going here. Let's get to the next one. 678, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the last caller. Hi, ABL.
What's going on?
This is Tiffany. I have a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm gonna go fast because I know you have callers. Have you noticed the commercials that are all in Spanish?
I've seen some of them occasionally. Yeah.
Okay, because I noticed too, it was interesting who it was. It was Microsoft and Google. And I noticed also that a lot of jobs out here are either requesting or saying they prefer bilingual candidates, or it's required. And it's nothing against Hispanic people, so don't nobody say nothing to me in the comments. That's not what it's about. It's just showing me, I said, you need to learn Spanish, because if our borders are open and we're a country of immigrants, like Biden said, they are opening the door to all the people that are coming from these countries that speak Spanish. And I know people are coming from all over the world, China, Africa and stuff, coming through our borders. But I said, that's interesting. I want to see what you thought about that, because if you are preferring bilingual candidates or you are requiring your candidates to be bilingual for all types of jobs, that is going to eliminate a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and
so it's like you need to learn some Spanish.
Yeah,
you're gonna be out. You're not gonna be able to compete in the market, like to get a job. I mean, I'm a double minority. I'm Black and I'm a woman, so I'm like, okay, let me become a triple minority: Black, a woman, and bilingual. So, I mean, I'm gonna do what I have to do. But it's interesting how all these Black people voted for Biden, and he already told you from jump, I don't care nothing about your reparations. I don't care nothing about your babies. We are a country of immigrants. And he automatically started talking about Hispanic people when they asked him the question about reparations. So here you go. And these companies, they're going to back that up because they like, oh, yeah, all this influx of Hispanics coming into this country. Yeah, we're going to cater to them. They're going to come get the jobs because they work hard, too. So you need to step it up if you want to survive. So that's something I noticed. And then just to speak to Taraji stupid behind, she is ignorant. She thinks she's an elitist. And for her to compare Emmett Till to just Juicy Smollett's situation was ignorant. It was very ignorant. It makes me upset. But it just shows you the ignorance of some Black people supporting Black Lives Matter, supporting all these stupid causes. And it just gives people a reason to look at Black people and hang their head and shake their heads. And I'm not surprised, because if you remember Lil Wayne's stupid little comment talking about beat that A like Emmett Till.
Right.
When we do stuff like that to ourselves and disrespect our own history, but then you want to cry about the white man and say the white man is your problem. No, we are our own problem most of the time. Because I remember getting in arguments with people over that song. Like, that had to be one of the most disrespectful lines in a rap song that I ever heard in my life. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Now, moving on to the man, I cannot stand this man, Raphael Warnock. And I listened to you about the whole Herschel Walker thing. And I used to live in Atlanta. I hope he wins. I hope they get Raphael Warnock out of there. But if you can just see the evilness of the left, here you have Raphael Warnock, and he's just a snake. He's evil. And I can tell you, just as a woman looking at him, I know that man is off the chain. I'm not talking about just as a preacher, just as a man, period. He is off the chain. There was a story that they ran in Atlanta about him, and they were saying that he did something to some woman that he was involved with, supposedly, allegedly ran over her foot or something like that, something stupid. So he's a whole nother situation just outside of him being a preacher. But the left, he is their puppet, because like Herschel, like you were saying about Herschel, he's a Christian, so he's going to talk about creationism. So Raphael Warnock is promoting abortion. You are preaching a different gospel, and we know what the Bible say about that. Just like Obama crazy behind talking about if his daughters make a mistake, he don't want them to be punished with a baby. So these men are telling Black people, we don't care about you. Raphael Warnock is basically telling you, I'm not a preacher. He probably ain't even saved. He's just about the money. It's about the money for him. And he promoting it. And the Bible say children are a heritage from the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. You supposed to be a preacher, and you talking about abortion is health care. Can Black people, because a lot of these Black people, they ain't saved for real either. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but that's why they vote for this mess, because you just as evil as he is, and you just as fake as he is. And then just moving on to the last thing I wanted to talk about, you know how they pushing all this LGBT stuff on our kids. Mm-hmm. They are also pushing drugs on our kids. Not the babies, of course, but they still babies, the teenagers. I used to work in advertising. They are trying to reach out to 16-year-olds. These vape companies, they want us to target 16-year-olds with these vaping products. And so what you're going to have is a whole bunch of little addicted kids running around here. And when I go shopping, I went to a thrift store, a clothing thrift store, because I like to thrift. And I smell something like weed, CBD. And I turned around and said, somebody in here vaping. I went to Victoria's Secret. Somebody was in Victoria's Secret vaping, and nobody said anything to them. And you know why? Because the people who are managing the stores are from that generation. Because our generation, we in our 40s and up, we getting older. That's why they want to indoctrinate these kids, and they want to have these young people stupid, disrespectful, and ignorant, because they're the ones that's going to be running these companies, running these grocery stores, running these clothing stores, and they're going to let people come up in there with all that foolishness, and they're not going to say nothing because they doing the same thing. So it's like they're like they said that Soros guy, he wants to destroy the nation from within. It's so many different things happening in this nation that they're doing to destroy us from within, from a political stance, from a social stance. And if you're not paying attention, you won't see it. But if you pay attention, it's the little things. It's the small foxes. That's what they're going to do. And you're going to get to, like I was talking about on a call I did with you before, the multifamily housing. You're going to have people smoking weed, smoking crack. It's going to get to the point where they can do whatever they want in their unit, no matter how it affects other people living in their unit. So you're going to have weed-filled hallways in these apartment buildings. You're going to have smoke-filled hallways. You're going to have, just like in New York, that stupid DA, if you don't hurt somebody, you can rob somebody with a gun. And if you don't do them imminent harm, you won't go to jail. I read all the legalities behind his. I read his. I don't know what you call it. I forget. But he had a document that showed all the changes he was making to the to what happens if you commit a crime in New York. And I'm like, so basically, you can rob somebody with a gun, and if they don't die, you won't go to jail. But you can pistol whip them. You know, do whatever you want. This is not going to just stay in New York. That's the testing ground. So it's like people need to wake up. We need to do more than just pray. We need to vote. We need to fight these people, keep them from getting in office, and we need to go to our local elections and do something about it, because they are trying to tear this country down from the inside, and they're taking the steps to do it.
Right about that, 100%. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
That's all I got.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, have a good night.
Same to you now.
Bye.
Hey, very good call. She was on fire, wasn't she? So shout out to her. But yeah, the drugs, that's a really important point she made about that vaping and stuff becoming like mainstream, because they don't really see like it's drugs. And I saw a video about that, actually. They had influencers, these kid influencers on Instagram literally pushing the vaping products. And what was it, like Juul? And I think 75% of the vaping industry is owned by Big Tobacco. People say, oh, I vape because it helps me to quit cigarettes. But really, that tool, the vaping tool, is an avenue for them to get kids hooked on nicotine products. Because again, most of the industry is owned by Big Tobacco. That's what it's all about. Because where's the profit in having a thing that's not addictive? If you're going to smoke drugs, let it be addictive so they keep coming on back and back and back. That's just what it is, right? That's all, okay? And then they're going to put all kind of stuff in the vape pen. They're going to put crack and heroin and everything in the vape pen, weed, all of that. And then they get to the point where you try to go to your apartment, and you got crack smoke in your face, weed smoke in your face, blunt smoke, all that, just right there. And that's not the wave at all. That's no good. All right, Sarit, what's happening?
ABL, what's up, bro? Yeah, that TikTok thing with Ukraine is really an insult to American intelligence, man. And it's just amazing that us as Americans, we just see this and there's like no outcry, because the White House, especially Democrat and liberals, they literally view celebrities as like our gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, they over here interviewing celebrities, you ask them for their political opinions, knowing that celebrities are probably the dumbest among us when it comes to politics. But in order to keep the population stupid, you want to elevate these celebrities. And you listen to these TikTokers. These TikTokers don't know anything. All they're doing is just repeating White House. I mean, we're really corrupt government propaganda when it comes to this Ukraine issue, because you cannot talk about Ukraine if you don't mention NATO. That makes no sense. I mean, it's like the problem I'm seeing with the corrupt elements of our government, which is having us have higher gas prices, create more enemies around the world. And when the world sees how we're sanctioning Russia, you don't think that they want to try to do the best they can to be independent from the United States, to be independent from the dollar, because you never know when the United States will just pull it up under their rug. So all these nonsense is not healthy for our country. But yeah, anyways, back to the propaganda, man. This is really designed to just have Americans developing hatred for Russia, because really, even though we hear Russia bad every day, Americans aren't really just catching on because Russia never really did anything to us. There's nothing. It's not like 9/11 where they can link, like Iraq to 9/11 and get us ready for war. You can't do that. So, they want to get celebrities and then a constant stream of propaganda to talk about this issue. And, all I say to Americans, especially when it comes to Ukraine, is just imagine after the Cold War, Russia made alliance with Venezuela, and they had a whole bunch of propagandists in Venezuela talking about how bad and evil the United States is. Then they moved to Colombia. They did the same thing. And then they say, you know what? How about we turn Mexico? And we did the same thing in Mexico. We have to put ourselves in Russian shoes. This is not pro-Russia, but we have to understand this is not a Marvel comic book new movie, how the media and Kamala Harris likes to explain, where she talks to a Black audience. I mean, I don't know. Did you listen to that little interview she had? I forget, with the hip hop station.
I'm not sure.
Well, see, it's like anytime you talk to a Black audience, and this is why I say Black people have got to stop letting ourselves be insulted like this. But I forget the name of the Black audience she was talking to. They asked her to explain it, and I swear to God, it sounded like she was talking to third graders.
I saw that. Yeah, she was like, "Well, Ukraine is a small country next to a big country." I'm like, what? Come on.
Yeah, it's like, who are you talking to, man? Like, are you talking to first graders? Right. And the way she explained it, I mean, it's like a Marvel movie. It's like an evil villain just appears out of nowhere and decides to take over the world. And it's like we don't really understand other foreign nations, countries' interests. Like I said, we got to put ourselves in other countries' shoes. So yeah, they start coming to Mexico and they start talking all these bad things about the United States. And they're like, well, how about you join us? How about you join the Soviet Union? The United States would invade Mexico. I don't understand why everyone is ignoring this. It's bizarre. But the media knows this. This is why they never talk about it. And they put this in the stupid Kamala Harris terms, where just big bag Russia decides, hey, I'm just going to invade Ukraine out of nowhere, just out of the blue. and then I'm gonna take over and expand. So yeah, man, and with Republican voters especially, this is what I have to warn us on, because we have to be careful of this anti-Russia hysteria, because that is going to bleed over to Trump. Because if Trump gets elected, they are going to pin him with that, with being a Putin puppet. And if we start doing that Russian propaganda, saying that the Russians is bad, we're going to have to hold that same energy when it comes to Trump. And let's say Trump does the noble thing. He comes back and say, you know what, we don't need to be enemies of Russia. They're a nuclear power. Why do we, do y'all want World War III? Do y'all really want to be enemies with Russia? If we hold this anti-Russian, we're so gung-ho, we want to go to war or sanction or just hurt the Russians, that is going to stop any diplomacy that Donald Trump may ever have to achieve with the Russians, and force him to take a hawkish position, which pretty much put us more in danger. So, and just to, Trump voters as well, the media lies. We know the media lies. It's just amazing that some of us is buying this story when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. We know that they lied about Russian influence on the election. We no Trump supporter can point to a link or some website or some Facebook ad that was used to convince them to vote for Trump. We all knew Hillary was corrupt and we liked Trump's policies. But the media assumes that the American populace is stupid. So they rode with it so much so, when we got to understand how far liberals will go. They had a wasteful $1 million investigation into Trump-Russia collusion. And we all know this was false. And it doesn't matter how many times Trump said, we did not collude with Russia. It doesn't matter how many fake news articles all came out false. They still went on with the investigation. So we got to understand, the media is not now all of a sudden telling the truth about Russia. It's like, come on. It's like we're losing credibility again. So it's like, I don't understand, man. It's like we pick and choose. When it comes to the media, I don't believe anything the media says unless I do my own independent research, man. And yeah, I just really want Trump supporters to understand that. Be careful of this propaganda. If someone questions the Ukraine support, U.S. support for Ukraine, stop calling them a Putin puppet. Just listen. Good Lord, because what you're doing is you're stopping debate and you are supporting censorship. And really, that is the most dangerous thing. You see how they call it, the clown Mitt Romney's calling Tulsi Gabbard a traitor, right? Did you see that?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking. Like, you can't even. The thing I'm afraid about in this country is that if we raise oppositions to things that is detrimental to American interests, that you're automatically called a traitor, and you may get economically banned or censored. So yeah, man, I'm about to get off, man. All I just want to say is, Trump supporters beware. The midterms are coming up. We see traitors like Mitt Romney. I always say this: he cannot be allowed another term. I mean, at this point, the man does nothing for the Republican Party. He does nothing. Him, Adam Kissinger, I forget that, Liz Cheney. They do nothing for us. They speak nothing about our issues. The only time they get loud is when we are ready to go to war or when it's something to do with Donald Trump. Other than that, they don't serve us. So we got to stop putting these people in who got an R next to the name, but get in and straight up betray us with no consequences. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right, great call. You guys are on fire tonight, so shout out to all the great callers calling in. Shout out to y'all. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 858, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Callie.
All righty, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Are you able to hear me?
I hear you well, but don't speak to the stream. It's a delay. Just speak to me on the phone and turn our stream off in the background for me, please.
Okay, everything's off.
All righty.
What?
Hello?
Hi, is this ABL?
Okay, I'm hearing different voices in the background. Is somebody there with you?
Yeah, I can't lie. My guy, he's on the line with us, but we won't take up a lot of your time. It's just a couple of quick points we wanted to make.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So ABL, I'm a huge fan and I love your show. I'm African American, female, and my guy happens to be Caucasian. I'll just put that out there. But I wanted to challenge you on your thoughts on reparations because I don't get. Well, first of all, can I ask what your opinion on reparations is? I want to make sure we're starting off on a fresh foot.
Okay, I can't really say I'm a big fan. I don't think that. First of all, I don't think it would happen because it's been 150 years. It's been the conversation for a long time. It's not going to actually happen. Right. And beyond that, if it was going to happen, it should have happened when slavery was over with, like right at that moment, from the former slave, from the former slave owner to the former slave directly, rather than years later to where it's my taxpayer money going to pay for it. And then what they probably end up doing is printing money to pay for it, which would put us further in debt, which would be kind of a lateral move. You see what happened when we printed money because of the virus. We got all this inflation as a result. So it'd probably be more of the same. I don't really see the purpose, how that would actually make a difference or work.
Yeah. I mean, and I get that. Like, I'm very open-minded and I like to have a good debate. My thoughts are, so my mom, she's actually Kenyan. And so even if, let's say the government, Biden says, okay, you're going to get reparations, like based on how the American Indian tribes do it, the more you can prove that you're Cherokee or Iroquois or whatever the case may be, the more money you get, the more reparations you get, pardon me. So given all the free labor and the poor treatment that we got, and I don't want to hear people say, oh, well, you know, your kings or tribal leaders or whatever, they're the ones that let them go and sold them. But we don't know what that conversation was between the white slave trader, the European, versus the, you know, the person that was responsible for selling all the slaves. And then on top of that, just the poor treatment, like you said, 150 years of repression. And I'm not an apologist. My kids are great. My son works for Apple. My daughter's successful. I'm not like one of those people that wants to woo me because I'm Black. But I do feel like if the American Indians, which I happen to love that culture, if they're getting something from the government, I get it. They have casinos and whatever. But I think it needs to be something that's looked into, whether it's right after slavery ended, today, or in 100 years. I just feel like if you can prove that, yeah, I'm direct lineage to the Zulu tribe or whatever, you should get something. I mean, we giving money to prisoners to get sex changes. You know, I mean, that's just my perspective. So I just wanted to get your feedback. I appreciate it. I don't know if you have time to talk to my guy.
Oh, sure. I got some time. Yeah. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? You are famous.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Actually, her and I are trying to get our own podcast going and our brand.
Okay, so what are you guys going to talk about? Like, what's your podcast going to be centered on?
Well, do you want to tell him the name of the podcast?
Well, I know he doesn't have a lot of time because he's super busy, but it's going to be called The Big Fat Shit Show, and it's just going to be politics, religion, COVID. Like, we're very like-minded with you, ABL. We love you. Like, even though I don't agree with everything, especially your sports commentary, but we love you. Like,
slam dunk.
So if you want to just, sweetie, go ahead and let him know what you're thinking, because I don't want to tie him up.
Well, how about this situation we're saying it's Russia's fault for the gas? How's that possible?
Well, is that a question to me? Like, how is Russia's fault?
Yeah, how's that Russia's fault? I mean, am I insane? Because didn't we have a gas problem before Russia?
I mean, the media will say pretty much anything. The issue is that we're not buying Russian gas, and that's part of the reason why the price is going up. But we wouldn't need Russian gas if we produce more here. We already have a low production because of the Biden administration coming into it saying that we're going to go beyond fossil fuels and we're going to go toward electric. So they're already starting to curtail some of the production, and we're not buying stuff from overseas. That's causing the price to go up. It's a combination. It's not just, Russia. No, there's a few different reasons why that's happening.
Yeah, so I think Russia's a cop-out. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man, we got a great president, don't we?
Not so much. Past tense, but not now.
I'm just trying to be sarcastic.
I'm with you.
I mean, we want to get your autograph later.
Yes, we love you, ABL. I'm so happy we got through. I was trying, and just God bless you. Keep doing the work you're doing, and you're an inspiration to America. You're a great patriot for sure.
Yeah, and as a great patriot, any quick advice how to get started with our business?
Just start. That's the main thing. Just start, because a quick story before we get to the next caller. When I started my channel, all I had was an old BlackBerry phone and my old computer from like 2009. This is 2015 when I started. So it was an old computer, old BlackBerry, and all I was doing was making like little voice notes, and then I would put little images on there as a slideshow, and that was my video. And then I started to just put stuff out there. I got better and better, and I started to invest in myself and got a camera, a microphone, better computer. I just started. Don't get caught up in the whole trying to fix everything perfect before you start. Just start, and you can improve along the way. That's probably my best advice to you. Just go ahead and start.
because I had reached out to some places and they wanted thousands and thousands to teach me and to be a mentor.
No. I mean, you can pay that, but there's no reason to do that. There's plenty of things online for free. One last thing, and I have like no time to the next call, but Roberto Blake on YouTube. Roberto Blake, follow him. He has great advice, and it's all free on YouTube. Check him out, Roberto Blake. Thank y'all for the call.
Thank you so much, and don't forget to look us up in the future.
No, right. And don't forget Brendan. Don't forget Brendan and Big Mike. We on that.
Oh yeah, go Brandon, go Big Mike in the house.
Sorry, AJ.
All right, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, shout out to them. That's interesting. I can't say I've had like a two-way call before. I've had people in the background and whatnot, or like a call, two people or more on it, but not like a two-way where it's like, that's like old school. Like, you on the line? Yeah, I'm on the line. That's old school, but shout out to them. Oh, and the name of your show, don't do that. You calling it the Big Bad S Show? Don't have any kind of vulgarity in the name of your show, because that's going to be hard to market. You want to have things that are clean, so you could put it anywhere, even if it's more of an adult themed show. I don't mean that in the weird way. I'm talking about like if it's more mature topics. You ain't talking about things for like you're not gonna be doing Barney and Friends. You understand what I'm saying? But don't put curse words in the name of your title of your show. Don't do that, and don't put any kind of curse words in the name of a video or anything like that. You want to be marketable and searchable as well. Okay. But let's get to the next one. Let's go to 760. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Bill. It's Corey. How you doing?
Oh, well, man. About yourself?
Pretty well. I wanted to shout out to one of the last gentlemen who called in talking about propaganda going on. Good stuff he had to say.
Oh, right on.
I wanted to ask you how close do you think we are with World War III coming around the corner?
Well, I mean, we could be very close or very far away. It all depends on what our government does. And I don't think they're going to go all the way because it's not popular. I think that if we were really, really brainwashed with the Kool-Aid and saying, hey, yeah, go and get Vladimir Putin. I don't care if I die in the process. If we were right there with that as a nation, they would go ahead and just spark it. But I don't think we are there as a nation. War is not a thing that's supported by anybody really in the general population. Congress loves it because they're trying to get a paycheck, trying to get a kickback from when they get elected. But the average person is not. So I don't think we're too close to it. If not for the American people, we'd be a lot closer.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, although I am speculative. And the reason why is because I look at history. And if you know anything about World War I and World War II and how we got involved, we're doomed to repeat the past if we don't learn from it. And our leaders are doing the same thing as Roosevelt and Wilson did. I don't know how familiar you are, but so like in World War I, when Germany was attacking Britain and France, we were shipping supplies to Britain, and that's when they came out with the U-boats, and they started sinking some ships that had American passengers on board. So they, so America was like, hey, don't do that, and because Germany didn't want America to get involved either, so they respected that request for a minute, but then eventually, like, they had no choice because they were trying to starve Britain. So if we kept trading and sending supplies, they had to attack us, and that's what they started doing. And in the meantime, they were talking to Mexico, trying to get them to invade USA. So that's how we became involved in World War I. World War II played out almost the same way. You had Britain on its heels, and Roosevelt passed H.R. 1776. It was a bill that was to manufacture, ships, planes, artillery, and ship it to Britain to support them. All the meanwhile, we're like, well, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to get involved. Same old story as it is now, but we'll support them. Well, it ended up backfiring because it passed in March, I think 11th. 8 months later, Germany, was in the meanwhile, Germany was telling Japan to attack us, and 8 months later, after that bill passed, they did Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of history to learn there. I'd like to go more into detail, but I know you got other callers. But we're repeating the same thing. I mean, how much have we given to Ukraine so far?
Quite a bit. I know the exact number that is in the omnibus spending bill is $14 billion, and there's been more given before that. So it's more than $14 billion.
Yeah. So we're supporting them, but all meanwhile we're like, oh, we don't want to be involved. It's your thing, but we're supporting them. Well, that is being involved. So you can't be like, you're either all in or you're all out. Like, and the way we're going right now, I don't know. We'll see.
That's a good point. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's a good point. I cannot lie at all. Let's go to 3162. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, this is Lisa, and I'm calling you from the Netherlands. How are you doing?
Oh, well, how about yourself?
I wanted to say shout out to your previous callers, and I did recognize Jericho Green's voice, so shout out to him. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I am on a mailing list to just this initiative for the rainforest, and I started looking at this email. I mean, from them, it's dated June 16th, 2021, and it says, a long-term participant in the Rainforest Alliance program in Guatemala met with U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris last week, that was in June, to share her experience as a successful Indigenous woman and entrepreneur. At a roundtable, Harris invited this 25-year-old along with 3 other Indigenous Guatemalan businesswomen to serve as advisors on a $40 million program in Guatemala, the Young Women in Power Initiative. And I'm just wondering, I thought that Kamala Harris went down there to face, to discuss the immigrant matter and the problem of millions of people coming to the border. Mm-hmm. And it just sounds like she was having a very lovely little time down there with, I don't know, it's like, this women's, I mean, how is a 25-year-old, and no fault to the young woman, but it's like Kamala Harris always just gets herself way off track with everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Kamala Harris has no, she's like how do I say it? She's like, they're sitting her out there just to talk, have a little, but she has no actual power, no nothing. She could easily just not be there, and it wouldn't make a difference at all.
Right. I agree. I mean, I don't know why she's being sent. I mean, she's supposed to be going down there to Guatemala and these countries. I thought she was going down there and talking, serious talks with the leaders.
Nah.
And there she is talking with 25-year-old girls over making coffee. I mean, how is that going to solve the immigrant problem?
It's just like.
But I agree with you. I think, yeah, she's just. I don't know. It's just like this whole. It's just a whole circus. And I also live in Europe, and I just want. I don't think World War III is coming because they're already going into peace negotiations, and also. I don't know why Americans think that, the Ukrainians are some angels. I mean, I'm just reading right here that the representative of the Donetsk Republic this month issued an official statement saying that the Ukrainian artillery shelled the area. Okay, so the Ukrainian artillery shelled the Donetsk Republic, which I guess is the breakaway, the ones that want to kind of go in the direction of Russia. But anyway, they shelled the area 26 times, and 323 artillery shells were fired within 24 hours. The people were being prevented from being able to exit the area along the humanitarian corridor, and Azov and Pravi sector, which are the neo-Nazis over there, were preventing the people from leaving. They had them down in a basement in a school. 60 people were held, and mostly were women and children. And so, this is something being done by the Ukrainians. It's not just a one-way street.
Right. I'm with you. 100% correct.
And then I also just wanted to say real quick, there's a YouTuber out of England, and her name is Katie Hopkins. Are you familiar with her?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, Katie Hopkins, if you go to her film shorts on March 8th, 2022, you'll see. I don't know if have you seen the dancing Zelenskyy video?
Well, he was on television. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Where he's in the ladies' high heels and all that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that he kind of had a little bit of snow in his nose, because I saw your sniffy video as well.
Something's going on. I don't know what's
happening.
And
I was just wondering if maybe he hangs out with Hunter when they're all together over there.
Never know.
So, but anyway, I don't know. And my last comment is I don't know what's wrong with Lindsey Graham. He's lost his mind. I mean, he was over there ahead of Donald Trump going into the office in December 2016. I don't know if you've shared that video of him talking with the previous president. I don't know how to say his name, Prozovsky, or the one that was right there before Zelenskyy. But anyway, he was meeting with them in the Azov factions with John McCain, and he was like saying, "I'm going to arm you all," and as if that the whole Trump-Russia collusion was real. I guess they were believing it. So before Trump went in, they ran over there to the Ukraine to offer to arm them up. And at that time, John McCain was being given he was handed some kind of award by the neo-Nazis. And now I kind of understand why Donald Trump had he didn't have the greatest things to say about McCain when he passed away. Well, yeah, McCain was there trying to mess him up. I don't understand these divisions in the parties in America. I don't know where this is all going to lead.
Well, I can't really tell.
So I can understand why Trump was kind of mad about. But the bottom line is, here in Europe, I mean, they do not think very highly of Biden. And I mean, my husband is an official with the Dutch government. An official.
I got more calls on the line. I'm gonna cut you short, but thank you for the call.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
No, okay, I sure will. Bye-bye.
All right, now. All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, but Ukraine definitely no angel. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go to 309 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Jonathan.
All righty, what's going on?
I had some questions for you. Maybe not on the topics of your video, but just wanted to get your opinion on some things. So I got some friends that are in the what would you call it, sex worker business. And it's a topic that comes up.
Hold up. Wait.
Yep.
Be careful now, because we got little babies watching. So if it's going to be weird, you're talking about some extra stuff, let's not even do it.
No, it's about laws.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Go for it.
All right. Should prostitution still be criminalized in, what do you call it, 2022, 2023, whatever?
I think so, because the problem is you have human trafficking going on, and if that's legal, then it's going to be much harder to find victims of human trafficking in America. That's really big. Coming across the border, especially, that's a problem. So I don't think that should be legal. because of the human trafficking problem exclusively.
Well, wouldn't it be just like the alcohol prohibition and the drug prohibition, where it's like making it illegal makes the trafficking possible? If you make it legal, then you can regulate it and license it and make sure it comes from a consenting, willing source.
That's not quite how it works, human trafficking, because you could still.
No, I'm saying the prostitution thing. If you made it legal, then you can make sure that people that were in that business were there of their own free will. They could.
That's not how it works.
Police, they could get.
Hear what I'm saying to you. That's not how it works with human trafficking, because the problem is that there are some people that do that kind of stuff on their own free will, but there are others that don't do it on their own free will, regardless of whether it's legal or not legal. If you understand what I'm saying, like there's actual slavery going on. There's human slavery going on with human trafficking, where you get women that are kidnapped and sold sometimes into that life. They don't want to do it, but since it's legal,
No, but what I'm saying
you
is,
can't really detect it.
if you legalize it, wouldn't that eliminate the human trafficking problem?
No,
because then women couldn't be forced into the. No.
But I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, if prostitution is legal, then why wouldn't they be able to be forced into it if they were forced into it before? I don't understand how that makes any sense.
Because they'd have access to the police, they could get access to the government, they could get help.
They have access to the.
It's illegal.
Listen.
They can't come forward because they have to fear going to jail or being deported.
No, that's not how it works. Like, if you're a human trafficking victim, you're a victim regardless. Like, if you are a 14-year-old getting kidnapped and you go to the police saying, "Hey, I'm a victim of human trafficking," you're not gonna go to jail.
You could be deported, though.
Well, it don't matter. You shouldn't be here illegally. So you think that somebody can? It's okay. So you think if somebody comes over here illegally and they're trafficked, and they go to the police, they're going to stay if prostitution is legal? Would that change immigration law?
It's certainly possible.
How would that change immigration law if it does not affect immigration law? You're talking about prostitution. You're talking about immigration. That's two different things. You're talking about one thing. If you want to have that happen, you got to change multiple things, not just one thing. So if that one thing only changes, you're not going to actually eliminate the problem, because there's still human trafficking going on. If prostitution is legal, it'd be harder to find victims, and it'd be kind of just all out there mixed together.
But if it's going to happen, whether it's legal or not legal, what's the point of keeping it illegal? Because it's still going to happen.
Okay,
anyway.
I mean, by that logic, let's just legalize child abuse, if you understand what I'm saying, without getting too graphic. Let's legalize that then.
Okay, because no one actually likes child abuse, and there's no benefits to that. It's not helping anybody.
Do you like human trafficking?
It doesn't make sense.
Sir. Okay,
go ahead.
Do you like human trafficking?
No.
Somebody does. Obviously,
that's not what I'm talking about legalizing, though.
I mean, but see, you have a one-track mind. You're thinking about prostitution exclusively, people that voluntarily do it. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you legalize that, then the door is open to human trafficking, which is in the same area, happens at the same time as people that do it voluntarily. That's why it'd be much harder I'm not done. Sir, not finished talking yet. Sir.
Okay. All right. I think
as I'm saying, as you stop, you're not going to be able to find it, because it's all happening at the same time. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is why it's illegal, because of that reason. That's why it's illegal. It's simple.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to get your opinion on that. I was wanting to know what you thought about it. And that's a really good segue into the next question I have for you. How do you think the immigration process should be reformed, and how many Americans do you think right now could pass the immigration test to become a U.S. citizen?
Now, as far as reforming it, I'm not sure what can be done. I've not thought about it in depth. We need to have better security on the border to prevent all the illegal aliens from coming in. That's one of the main things. I think that's part of the problem. But as far as legal immigration, I'm not sure. I think the way legal immigration is fine. Illegal immigration is a problem, in my opinion. And as far as passing the immigration test, what was the question? Like, who could pass it as a citizen, or just people that are here illegally, or what? What was the question?
How many American citizens, like legit American citizens, that were natively born here, do you think could pass the immigration test? Just a rough guess.
Well, probably most probably couldn't. I'm not really sure. Probably about 50% or less. Maybe 20% could pass it because, well, I don't want to say that. I'll probably say at least 50%. 50% could, 50% couldn't, because a lot of us are pretty ignorant. We go to these schools, don't learn anything. That can be by design or what. I'm not really sure. So, yeah, a lot of us wouldn't pass that because we don't even understand what the capital of the U.S. is sometimes. I've seen some of these on the street interviews, and it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Next question I got for you.
Is
sacrificing?
I have like no time left.
Go ahead.
I have like no time left, so please be quick.
Okay. Should all guns and explosives be legal, or should we trust the government not to abuse gun control powers if we grant them to them?
I don't think all guns and explosives should be legal. I think the things that are legal now, handguns, rifles, shotguns, I think that's enough, because you're talking about all explosives, you're talking about nuclear weapons. I don't think we should be able to have nukes as an individual person. But what we have right now that's legal, like I said, rifles, handguns, shotguns, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Magazines, 30 rounds or more, big magazines, that's no problem. But some of the crazier things, no.
All right, you got time for one more question?
I don't, man. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, thanks for taking the call, man.
All right,
thank you. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. Good call. I hit him with a couple of sirs in there, but overall, good dude. Shout out to him. He said guns and explosives. So is nuclear weapon also an explosive? You see, like I'm thinking about all. When you say all things that explode, we talking about TNT. We talking about C4. We talking about what? What are we actually talking about when we say explosive devices? I didn't know we had to cut it off in nuclear weapons. Huh? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's get to a few more here. Let's go. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. 205 in online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, the ABL, it's Jason again. Talked to you last week.
All right, man. What's going on?
Not much. I was wondering if you had got my Twitter message. I don't think you did just yet, but I was talking to you last week about what the consequences could be for the U.S. if they went ahead and opposed those sanctions on Russian oil. And hate to say, but what I said is actually coming to fruition, because actually on Twitter, they have India announced that they're considering using the digital yuan as a currency to exchange Russian oil. And I think as of either yesterday or today, they've actually accepted that they're going to use the digital yuan. And the implications of that is now, and also here, I'm reading it right now, so Saudi Arabia considers accepting yuan instead of dollars for Chinese oil sales. Never mind, it's the other way around for Chinese oil sales. But it's going to connect with Russia, too, since Russia is the number 2 producer of oil. Now, the implications of that is now the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency is now at risk. And actually today, with the Fed hike of Jerome Powell, if you look back on the video, one of the reporters actually asked Jerome Powell about the sanctions that the U.S. has imposed and what are they going to do, for as keeping the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency? And all Jerome Powell was like, well, we don't have nothing to do with that. Congress makes sanctions. So it's like there ain't nothing we can do for it that. And it's kind of a sad answer, because it's like the people in Congress right now making these decisions, they're trying to score, as you say, political, moral wins, saying, oh, look, this is the right thing to do. This is what we should do. But they're not looking into the near future of what the consequences and implications of what they're doing is going to cause. So, I was just wondering if you've seen that for Saudi Arabia and other countries.
I think I did see your message about the whole thing with India, we say India using the yuan, right?
Yeah, I believe I think she went with India and Saudi Arabia.
And Saudi, yeah.
I know it's on disclose.tv. They've made the tweet about it.
And that's a serious problem because, we all know yuan, that's a Chinese currency. And if they don't trade, if they don't trade oil in dollars, that's a big problem because the petrodollar, that's a big part of the reason why the dollar has any value because it's not backed by anything.
Exactly.
Most of the dollar is digital anyway, like 98% or more is digital. It doesn't even exist.
Yep.
So that's going to be a big problem. You already got an issue with inflation, and they're trying to raise they're trying to raise the interest rate by like 25 base points, which is like 0.25%, which is nothing. You got crazy inflation, so this is going to be a problem if
they're going to do it. They're going to do it 6 times too this year.
Yeah, but they're only going to raise to 1.9%, which is still not enough. You get a 10% inflation, but you're going to raise the interest rate 1.9%. That's not going to match up. If you have money in the bank and it's in savings and it has an interest rate on it that, you compound interest or whatever, you won't make up the difference. You still end up losing.
Yep, that's exactly true. Like you said, and you look on the actual comments on there, you literally have people all over the world saying we're now witnessing the rise and the fall of, the American empire, just like the Roman Empire. You even have people in other countries saying that, the destruction of the dollar is going to be the collapse of the American society. And so it's like other people around the world see what's going on, but people here in the U.S., we're still kind of living in this fantasy world that everything is all good. It's just like what I said, man. I have a strong belief that I'm not sure if the U.S. is going to make it to 2024 based off how much damage Biden is doing. I feel like even if Trump or DeSantis got in, the damage is going to be so bad that it's going to be irreversible. So, I'll say it again. I feel like everyone should start getting as much dollars as they can, start paying your debts off, and start looking at, at least getting some sort of property outside the U.S. that you can kind of escape to, maybe somewhere in the islands or somewhere. Because first, I believe the country is going to go down economically first. Then it's going to be, you even made a tweet that said these gas, the turmoil is going to cause civil unrest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really believe that. I believe that that's going to come true here soon. So it's going to go down economically, and then I think the actual, World War III part is going to have to happen. So I really think you should do a video on that because this can have some real world serious consequences, and everyone need to be informed and prepared about the digital yuan because they just came out with that, I think, last year, and the U.S. is still considering like a digital dollar for its I think USDC crypto. So we're really behind on what's going on. So if that end up happening, then they're gonna still do business with Russia, and it's gonna be under the digital yuan, and then the demand for the dollar is gonna diminish. So I'm gonna leave you with that, man. But yeah, man, I appreciate you for taking my call again.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, if you guys didn't hear what he said when his phone kind of was glitching a little bit, I was saying on Twitter that these high gas prices are going to cause social unrest, civil unrest. I mean, what are you going to do? Gas in Los Angeles is what, like $8 a gallon? How are you going to be to get from point A to point B? What can you do with that? It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And we're talking, and the politics here are to blame for it. We're talking about trying to please environmentalists, so we don't want to have Keystone XL. It's like, come on, man. Like, let's stop. We don't want to have Keystone XL, and we don't want Russian oil and gas. And the lack of production and the lack of importing is causing the prices to go up because with lower supply and a high demand, it's going to cause high prices. It's so simple, but we act like we don't understand what's going on. Oh, the price of the gas is determined by the global parameters. Well, if the price of gas is determined by global parameters, then why are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Jen Psaki blaming Vladimir Putin? I thought it was a global thing, not one president. So if Vladimir Putin can affect the gas prices, so can Joe Biden. But apparently Joe Biden he's not responsible. He's hands off with it. And it's only Vladimir Putin's fault and not our fault at all as far as the lack of production and lack of importing. And the biggest consumer nation in the world, what we do as far as producing and importing has no effect on the gas price. Let's stop playing games here. Let's get to the next call. Let's go to 918. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's JB Scott from Oklahoma. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, well, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I didn't catch the first part of your show. I just kind of got in towards the middle there. What did Taraji Henson do?
Oh, okay. So Taraji P. Henson, she compared Jussie Smollett going to jail with Emmett Till.
Oh, man. That sucks, man, because I was a really good fan of hers.
Yeah, I mean, people, these celebrities, a lot of times they say things that don't make any sense. And I think a lot of it just comes from people that are ignorant and don't understand really what's going on in the world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she was a really good actress, and I really liked her. Man, I hate to see her go down that, crazy path of the left, like many celebrities have done, But anyway, I know you got a lot of calls tonight. A lot of really good calls tonight, actually. I was going to ask you, did you see Jen Psaki's press conference earlier where she pretty much ran away?
No, I didn't see her running away. Well, she was getting questioned and just had to leave the podium. Didn't want to take the questions.
Yeah, that was classic. I mean, I don't know who that dude was that was asking her that question, but yeah, she pretty much got the hell out of the room and was like, "I'm not even going to deal with this," And one more thing I wanted to say, just a commentary, I know that young lady earlier, she was really good, she had a lot of great points. Joe Biden says that he's going to pick a vice president based on gender and color and a Supreme Court nominee based on gender and color. Isn't that the definition of discrimination?
Oh, of course, 100% correct. By race as well, which should be illegal when you're talking about the federal government. But I guess, if you're Joe Biden, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, he's been around so long that he's lived through the whole civil rights movement. I mean, he's been a part of it, and part of it, it's just, it infuriates me, it really does. It's like, I don't care, who gets the jobs, like Pete Buttigieg got the job because he's a gay dude, that's straight up fact. But, you can't hire people based on diversity. This diversity stuff is getting so far out of control. We got to hire people based on qualifications. This is getting crazy. And I don't want another Supreme Court judge just based on being a woman of color. That is ridiculous. Yeah. So, I don't know. Hey, someone just called me a creep. What the heck's that all about?
Don't worry about that, man. It's just the comments are the comments. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, I watch you every week, man. I love your show. I love hearing all the callers. But yeah, that's all I got tonight. Yeah.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Later, buddy.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, them comments, man. Don't get caught up in them comments. That's gonna be, you read those, man. It gets worse, man. It's just like watching a train wreck, man. You don't want to do that. Let's get to the next one here. Let's go to 913 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL?
Yes, I am.
Oh, let me get you off speaker. Okay, this is Tammy. I don't know if you've talked about it on the show, because I've been trying to call, so I didn't listen to the last few minutes, but have you heard about the People's Convoy up in Washington?
I've heard about it, yes.
I've been watching them every day as I deliver mail. I stay on YouTube Live, the live stream of Sesnick, It's Kansas spelled backwards, and he's got a YouTube channel that he goes live. A few of them do. They go live during the whole as they're going around the Beltway. And today the police were blocking off all the exits and wouldn't let them go down. They just want to drive down. I think they want to drive down by the White House, but they are blocking off all the exits, and the police are they're causing all kinds of traffic jams, and then they're blaming it on the mayor's blaming it on the truckers, or the media is blaming it on the truckers. It's not all the police. The police, I mean, they have to block the exits, but there's a lot of police that are very nice to them. But they're doing what they're told, and people are always on their live feed saying, "What are you doing? The mask mandates or the mask things have been stopped," and it's not really about that. It is about the mandates, but it's about the emergency powers that Biden put back into play February 18th. With no end date. So he just gets to have all these emergency powers basically with no end date. Like what, for the end till he gets, done with his first term, which can't be soon enough, but that's what they're mainly trying to stop, the emergency powers, because there's no need for him to have all that power. It basically lets him go around the Constitution on all kinds of matters. And and as he blames Russia and everything else for all his mishaps. So they did get to speak with Ted Cruz and Ron Johnson, and I think they've had a few other meetings with some congressmen, but they're staying there. They're staying there until they get some attention, and the media's completely flat out ignoring them all they can. There's people that have pulled up beside them and said, "What are you guys here for?" "Oh, I didn't know that." And they live there. Of course, they kind of live in a bubble in D.C., but anyway, that's all I was going to mention, besides the fact that I find it strange that Hillary Clinton gave our uranium, like 20% of it or whatever, to Putin, and now basically Biden's given Ukraine to Putin. And I don't know how many people know about the Hunter Biden's laptop, number one, I think Russia still has. But I lost my train of thought.
I was all good.
Anyway, that's really all I was going to talk about, was the People's Convoy mostly. And then someone told me to look up the World Economic Forum 201 something. I haven't done it yet, but have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, that's pretty important to know, because a lot of politicians get the direction from there. It's a long story to get into, but look it up. It'll be worth it for you.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Okay. Well, that's all I was going to say. You have a great evening, and thanks for doing everything that you do.
Well, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty. Great call. Let's get to a few more. Let's go to 415 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
No, my name is Patrick from San Francisco.
All right, man. What's going on?
Is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
ABL, man. How are you, boss?
I'm great, man. Can't complain.
ABL, I just got two things, man. I just heard that Jesse Smollett just got out of jail.
That's
I just heard that right now. And the second thing I also wanted to know before I let you go, how sexy do you think the women at Project Veritas are to make all of those elite people talk like it's nothing, like they got to be like dime pieces, bro. But that's about it, boss. Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna hold you, but I know a girl that wanted to be part of Project Veritas, and a lot of these guys that are on there to get caught up in the candid camera with all their drinks and stuff in front of them and tell everything, they probably don't get much attention from girls like that. I put it to you that way. I'll leave it right there, but I ain't gonna get too deep into it. But shout out to you. You know who you are. Okay, let's get to the next one here. Let's go to, all righty, call you on the line. Speaking to 417.
Hey, what's up, ABL?
What's happening? What's going on? Who am I speaking to?
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All righty, what's going on? Who am I speaking to?
Honestly, I'm pretty good. I was just wanting to say I'm a big fan of your stuff.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Also, just a simple question. me and my friend are watching you right now, and he was wanting to know like what side you're on, like Russia or Ukraine.
Neither side. I'm on the side of civilians being killed for no reason. I'm on the side of peace, but I'm not on the side of Russia or Ukraine.
Yeah, I understand you. I'm actually pretty much like the same on that. All right. Well, honestly, that's all I wanted to know. Just thank you for making content.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Shout out to the caller, but yeah, I'm not on the side of Russia or Ukraine. I'm not a Ukrainian or a Russian. I just want the people of Ukraine to not have to suffer unnecessarily. That's why I say they should go ahead and surrender. Like, they're not doing anything by prolonging this. It's just being a puppet to NATO and letting them engage in a proxy war against Russia. Yeah, I'm on the side of innocent civilians, people that don't need to die. That's it. And regardless of where it is or who it is, I don't care if they're in Afghanistan, they're in Ukraine, they're in Yemen. I don't care where they are, who they are. If you're an innocent person, I'm on your side. Point blank, period. I'm not on the side of Ukraine or Russia personally. You know what I'm saying? That's not even really what it is. Okay. Okay, let's get to a few more here. Let's go to everybody on the line. Speaking to 317.
Yeah, ABL.
What's happening?
This is Matt.
All righty.
This is Matt in Indiana, and just want to comment on your one of the previous callers. Sounds like a big proponent of prostitution.
Apparently
and
so.
I think what he doesn't really realize is prostitution is human trafficking, and human trafficking is slavery. So he's actually wanting to legalize slavery again in this country. I guess like repeal the Emancipation Proclamation or whatever. So I don't know where he's coming from. I don't know if he's maybe a pimp or he frequents prostitutes, and it sounds like there was some drugs and alcohol in there too, but he's way off track.
Yeah, definitely. There are some people that do that kind of stuff voluntarily. Some of these girls that are out there voluntarily, but really, a lot of it is these girls are forced into that kind of life. There's a lot of underage girls out there that are forced into it. A lot of foreign girls that are forced into it. It's just too much of that going on in America for that kind of thing to be legal. So, that'd just be a bad idea overall. That's one thing that people don't really talk about that needs to get talked about. It's a whole underworld that exists that'd be pretty much legitimized if you were to legalize that. So I'm definitely against it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the real reason I called in is, did you hear about the fire in the Walmart distribution center in Indianapolis, Indiana today?
No, I didn't hear about it.
Okay. It's a massive fire. I saw it. Okay. The best way I can describe it is 9/11.
Wow. Was
That's
it that
how
bad?
big this flame was.
Wow.
A massive black billowing flame, probably maybe up to 500 foot in diameter, flaming up into the sky. I watched it for 30 minutes and it just continued to billow, just like 9/11. The only difference is 9/11 with skyscrapers, and this thing is a multi-million square foot warehouse basically with sprinklers, thousands of sprinklers, a lot of probably flame retardant clothing, and maybe cardboard boxes and some furniture. But the only thing that can create a black massive fire like that is a major petroleum source. And do you know where that warehouse is located?
No, I don't.
It's just a couple miles from the Indianapolis International Airport. So and the media is saying and Walmart is saying we have no idea how this fire started. And usually when I hear that kind of comment, it tells me that they're hiding something, because normally they've got some ideas or maybe even hypothesis on how some of these things happen. But and I mean, the the smoke cloud was going up, and it created probably the biggest cloud in the sky I've ever seen, a black cloud. It was like a sunny day today, and it had this weird, like, shadowy fill, I guess, in the air. But you should look it up online. It's the biggest fire I've ever seen in my life. And like I said, it looks exactly like 9/11, and it's just a couple miles from the airport. So there's one other thing I have to say on the Russia-Ukraine thing, which is they've talked a lot about how Ukraine is kind of Russia's Cuban Missile Crisis. So if you put yourself in Russia's shoes, you take Russia, China, and Iran. Let's say they make an alliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they decide they're going to come in and make Mexico part of that alliance, which means they get to move weapons and troops and missiles and things into Mexico near our southern border. That's exactly what NATO and the U.S. have been talking about doing in Ukraine. And that people talk about how Putin's this crazy guy and he's the next Hitler. But can you imagine what U.S.'s response would be if Russia and China and Iran were going to try to do something like that in Mexico or Canada or something? So we have to try to put ourselves in their shoes, because I feel like the politicians, both Democrat and Republican, are on the verge of World War III, because if we do anything against Russia, China will take Russia's side, and suddenly you have World War III. But that's all I have to say. But please look up that fire in the Walmart distribution center, Indianapolis, Indiana. It's huge, and I can't imagine how a metal warehouse building with a metal roof and thousands of sprinklers could have created that type of fire.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm a huge fan. Thanks, ABL.
Thank you. That's a good question. Maybe the warehouse had a lot of lithium-ion batteries in it, because those things are notorious for going up in flames. And when they spark, you can't really put it out. The sprinklers won't do a thing for that kind of fire. All right, let's get to a few more. And thank you all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. 479 on the line. I'm speaking to.
Yes, this is Andrew Stockton from Arkansas.
All right.
Is this Anthony Brian Logan?
Yes, it is.
Wow, you have a pretty good show tonight. You got a lot of interesting callers tonight.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Sure. I was just wanting to know something on a intellectual evolutionary standpoint. Not evolution, but just an intellectual one. Would you say that we're at a crossroads right now, that we are de-evolving intellectually?
That's a really good question. I think that we are regressing, most certainly intellectually. I don't know about evolution, but I think that in America, at least, not in the world, in the rest of the world, there's advances. But in a large part of America, I think it's kind of intentional as well. We're not being educated properly, and we're being dumbed down by a lot of the entertainment and the distractions and the media that are just pure propaganda at this point in time. They say they are objective, but they're not. This is complete propaganda. So we're being dumbed down by those things. It's intentional to keep us kind of subservient to them.
Would you say the woke generation has also had a lot to do with it as well?
You said the woke generation?
Yeah, the woke people, the ones that are saying that men can get pregnant and women can become a man, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, they do. But and also the thing that they do is that they changed what words mean. Like you're talking to somebody from this woke generation and you're using certain words and they act like
it's like a made up.
Yeah, they make up their words and they create new things. If you see a person that looks like Paul Bunyan, 6'8", logger with a beard, and then I say, "Excuse me, sir, it's ma'am. It's like, okay, see, now we're playing with words. They don't mean anything anymore. So at a certain point, it's getting confusing, and the confusion is causing lack of communication, and that's causing lack of intelligence.
Yeah, I agree. I also have a 20 list here that I'd like to call out real quick, if it's all right.
All right, go for it.
Things that I trust more than the mainstream media. Number 1, Helen Keller flying an airplane. A prostate exam from Captain Hook. Number 3, sushi at a gas station. Number 4, a Somalian cruise line. Number 5, a styrofoam gas can. Number 6, a mechanic who tells me my blinker fluid is low. The ingredients of a hot dog. Number 8, water from Chernobyl. Number 9, a suspiciously large wooden horse. Number 10, breast milk from Bruce Jenner. 11, a blood transfusion from Charlie Sheen. Number 12, a mixed drink from Bill Cosby. Number 13, Elizabeth Warren's native DNA. Number 14, going to a theater with Abe Lincoln. Number 15, rattlesnake with a pet me sign. Number 16, a girl who says I'm fine. Number 17, Facebook free speech protection. Number 18, air brakes on the Space Shuttle Challenger. And number 19, will not sink sign on a submarine. And number 20, or I'd say number 1, an earthworm that has written on it high intelligence.
very, very good. I enjoyed that list. Real good list.
Well, thank you. Some of that I made up, but actually another part of it I got off of one of the websites. I think it was the Patriot Hub.
Yeah, that was good, man. I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, you have a good night.
Same to you. All right, yeah. Shout out to the list. You know, some of them were a little bit too soon. What was that? The Abe Lincoln? Is it too soon for the Abe Lincoln win? I don't know, but that was good though. Shout out to him. All right, Victor, what's happening?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
All right, what's happening? What's going on?
Good. Hey, I never knew that it feels so good to be on the slave plantation, aka the NFL. Reason why I said that, because Colin Kaepernick contacted the Seattle Seahawks.
He's playing games. Like, really, he has no desire to play football anymore. I mean, and you know what? To give him a little bit of credit, who would want to play football when all you got to do is go on Twitter, put out a statement every 2 months. You don't even got to talk. Just tweet some every 2 months, one thing every 2 months, and you get paid infinitely more money than playing football. Why would anybody want to play? This right here is just so you can say, oh, they don't want me, I'm being blackballed. It's like, all right, at a certain point, you're going to be 50 years old saying the same thing. You're going to have that afro that's going to be completely gray, or at least salt and pepper, and you be saying they don't want me. It's like, well, sir, you're not going to have many senior citizens playing NFL football now, are you? But he'll still do that to say, chip on my shoulder, I'm oppressed by the white man, all this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, you're a whole spokesperson for multiple brands. You got all kind of deals. You got millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. You're not in any kind of way oppressed.
just staying relevant.
That's all.
Yeah. Oh, man. Have you heard the wonderful news?
What was that?
Rachel Levine, and this is so historical, she won Woman of the Year.
Oh, you mean Big Rick?
Wait, what do you mean Big Rick?
Big
I
Rick?
thought she's a woman.
A woman in Zier's mind, but not in reality. That's a whole XY man.
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, no. Man, true. Even men could beat women in Woman of the Year.
Hey, you know what? We know what's funny. Speaking about sports and Colin Kaepernick, didn't Rachel or Rick or whatever their name is play football with What was that guy that was talking about? I want to know more about white rage. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
They play. Yeah, Adam. What's his name?
I can't recall his name, but I remember.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they played football together in high school. It's like, wow, okay.
Wow. Yeah, and sticking with sports, and this is my last one. You know about that name, image, likeness with the NCAA athletes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for people who don't know, that's how the college athletes are being paid. The name, image, and likeness (NIL). What do you think about that?
So are they getting paid from that now?
Yeah, they getting paid. They getting paid a lot.
So I have a lot of questions. Like, okay, do they get paid from their own likeness or from like a collective thing where it's like, okay, if you got a pool of money from all their likenesses, does it get distributed evenly or is it by the player?
It really depends because it could be both. For instance, the offensive line for Texas A&M, they're going to get $500 amongst $500,000 amongst each other. Then you also have some individual deals like Masterpiece's son is playing college basketball and got a deal. The new University of Southern California quarterback, he has an individual deal. And then also with other groups, it has a group deal. So it really depends.
Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it all pans out, how it works out. I want to see how that actually, is it going to hurt the game? Is it going to benefit it? I'm not really sure. I got to see how it works out. But I mean, if they're able to get paid and there's no weird stuff that comes about it, then it's all good to me. I don't really see a problem.
Well, just now, a junior in high school, he's a junior, he's graduating next year. He signed a deal that's a little bit over $8 million.
Get paid, young man, get paid.
Yeah, and what's so funny because they saw that, okay, it's getting out of line. The people who were supporting, who were crying out loud, we need to pay these college athletes. They saw how the NIL was getting out of line. For me personally, I'm like, okay, yes, they need to get paid, but but this NIL, it may get out of hand. Now that people are saying, the people who support the college athletes getting paid, now they're talking about, oh, well, we need some regulation. I'm sorry. You opened Pandora's box talking about paid athletes.
Sure did.
This is what's going to happen. And they actually, the person went to who got paid, who will be getting paid $8 million. They actually went to court about that. And the attorney won the case. And the attorney said that it's just going to get bigger. They opened up the Pandora box. Don't cry talking about, oh, we need to regulate this when you ask for this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's out there. It's out there now. The money's going to be available. I don't see nothing wrong with it, really. It's like, look, man, if you can get a contract like that at 16, when I was 16, I worked at Old Country Buffet and Sam's Club, pulling carts, getting $6.25 an hour. So if you can get $8 million, then go ahead and get it. You know what I mean? As long as the game is not going to be compromised, then it's whatever. You know, it is what it is. You know, some are going to say, well, there's no more amateurism. What about the education? These guys can't even read anyway. Like, it don't even really matter. Like, they're just trying to get, like, if you say, okay, here's a contract for $8 million at 16 years old. Psh, education, I can go get that. I can buy that later. I can buy a degree for that.
Yeah. But this is my last part for real. The amateurism has been taken out a long time ago when they start putting sports betting on college.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff that led to college players getting paid with the sports betting and how people are being promoted outside of college, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, bye.
Very good call. Yeah, I need to look into that. The NIL thing with sports, college sports. How you guys feel about that? How you guys feel about college athletes getting paid? I don't see a problem as long as everything is cool with the game and there's no weird stuff going on. It is what it is, man. Get money. They're getting money. You can get money too. If it's legal, it's lawful. I don't see no problem. And he had a good point about the amateurism being gone because of sports betting. If you can bet on sports team, but the players in the team can't actually get paid from that, you know, the education is cool, but if the money that you make exceeds the education that you get for free, you know, why not? If you're able to do like the wrestlers did and get merchandise sales and whatnot, because a lot of the wrestlers from back in the day, back during the Stone Cold years, Stone Cold Rock, all of that, they were getting paid 50% of their merch. Stuff like that, it just makes sense to me personally. All right, I got time for maybe one or two more. Hold on. So let's go to the next one. 801 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Jason from Salt Lake City.
All righty, man. What's happening?
Hey, you know, people say, men getting pregnant. I want to set everybody straight that doesn't know this. A woman that identifies as a man that gets pregnant, that categorizes that man as having a baby, even though it's a woman.
It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense, but, I guess that's what we are doing nowadays with this new speak.
Yeah, so I heard a guy talk. You mentioned something about men getting pregnant. It's biological women that identify as men that get pregnant, and so that's a man getting pregnant.
Right.
And then the other thing is, really quick, and I'll let you go. I traveled the state a lot, and I see, transgender men going into women's bathrooms at truck stops, flying J's, Mavericks, and this and that. And then you get these transgender men going into women's locker rooms and stuff like that. But when do you ever hear about a transgender woman that is identified as a man going into a male bathroom or a male locker room?
Very good point. I've never seen that before. It's always the other way around. And we know why that is, because you got a lot of these men that are just trying to get access to women undercover. Not all, but a lot of them, of course, because again, you don't see the other way around.
Yep. Yeah, it's irritating. It's irritating to me. I mean, anyways, that's it. And I called a long time ago. I was the one that had that survey that had that $5 in it, and I called and I asked you advice about that, and you said, "Oh, I'll take that $5 and go to Popeyes and buy a Popeyes chicken sandwich." I don't know if you remember that, but you're a leader and a healer and a teacher, and we need you, man. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good point he made about, you see the trans women, quote unquote, going into women's restrooms, but you don't see the trans, quote unquote, trans men going into men's restrooms, because at the end of the day, they're still women and they don't feel safe in there. You see what I'm saying? So that right there, it just kind of kills the whole argument. Oh, trans men are men, really? Well, set a little 5'3" man who looks like a woman to come on in the bathroom with a bunch of men. It's gonna make the Zier or Zer feel unsafe, ain't it? I wonder why. Because biologically, she is still a woman, biologically. But you get these big football playing, bricklaying playing, concrete, blacksmith looking dudes dressed as women going into the women's restroom because they don't feel unsafe. They feel dominant in that situation. It's unfair to women to deal with something like that because they don't feel safe. And sometimes they get assaulted, and that's not right. But that might be a wrap for me tonight. Thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. I got time for one more call. Let's get to the last call. Now it's wait. Okay. So that was a sign right there. I need to go ahead and hang it up. Thank you guys for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. I couldn't do it without you. If you couldn't get on this time, please try the next time. And it's not my fault you couldn't get on. Please blame the white man. But that'll be it. You guys are the best. I got super chats on deck, and then I'm gonna get on out of here. Thank you for the mods for keeping them trolls in check. I really appreciate you all. And let's go ahead and get to the supers and wrap it on up. Put the bow clean on top. Thank you to Jonathan Waller for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Les, who says, "Hey, ABL and fam, great show once again. Hope to call in soon. Move was a success, and now getting settled in. ABL is always on fire, never a dull moment. We're looking to travel to Tennessee in a week. All right, sounds good. Stay aware, fam. God bless U.S. Thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Frank Dest, who says, I'd like to ask a lawyer this question. If Juicy loses his appeal, could he be forced to serve even more jail time, perhaps the entire 30 months? I think his sentence originally was 5 months. So, well, pardon me. The 30 months was felony probation. So he wouldn't serve that time unless he committed another offense in the 30 months. Well, so he wouldn't serve any more time than what he was sentenced. That's a good question. I think if he lost the appeal, then he would serve the time that he was originally sentenced, not more time than what he was sentenced. They get to Time Travel, who says, love the show, ABL, thanks. Thank you for that. Shout out to Joe Redder 84, who says, ABL, have you heard of Reverend James David Manning? Of course. They get to Technologic for the donation or for becoming a member and upgrading. Joe Redder 84 says, ABL, all woke is just anti-white male. Joe Redder 84 also says, was any of your family coal miners? Of course. Yep, my great-grandfather was a coal miner for 20-something years. And in Charleston, that area, all in the coal mines. Yep. Steve Harvey comes from coal miners. Steve Harvey was from Welch, West Virginia, which is a big coal mining area. Shout out to Welch, shout out to Rand, Malden, all that good stuff. A bunch of coal miners. Yep. And I think my great-grandfather moved around a lot in Rand and up and down the river to go to different like little coal mining areas. Yeah, I saw he had a little certificate from DuPont Energy for like 20 years of service. But before that, he was around a bunch of different coal mines. Yep. Imagine that black man in West Virginia and, what I'm saying, like 50s and the 60s, owning land and building houses. My great-grandfather built 2 houses that are still standing to this day with a 3rd grade education. Imagine what you can do with a third grade education nowadays. Call yourself transgender and stuff like that. My granddad built houses by himself, bare hands, that are still around to this day in the 50s and the 60s. And everybody was raised in the houses. My grandma and my grandma's brothers, mom, my aunts, everybody, uncles, me, I used to be over there too. 3rd grade education, the coal miner, owning property and land. Oh, we're so oppressed. Stop it. Thank you to Mentalist Wife for the donation. Thank you to Leah Mazzino, who says, if Levine gets Woman of the Year, what is next? Leah Thompson getting Female Athlete of the Year on Sports Illustrated? Please, let's not have that happen. I'm not trying to see, Michael Phelps on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You understand? That's not really the wave at all. Thank you to Eunice for the #1 fan emoji. I appreciate you for that. Thank you to, of course, the Hammers that just came sword. he had tools and stuff, you know what I mean? When we talking about sticks and stones and whatnot. But yeah. Thank you to Joel for becoming a member. Thank you to Mario Navarrete, who says RP Razor Ramon. Yeah, RP to Razor Ramon, a.k.a. Scott Hall. Yeah, definitely one of the best to ever do it. Who was your favorite wrestler, ABL? My favorite wrestler was Ultimate Warrior when I was young. And then it became, I think, I like Stone Cold. I like that whole era. Stone Cold was my guy. But before that, when I was a youngin', I'll never forget it. I was in Roanoke, Virginia. And my uncle at the time, Frank, was watching. I think he had a pay-per-view that happened. And I remember watching it being scared. I'm like 5 years old because I think the Ultimate Warrior had got put in the casket by the Undertaker. And I'm like, he about to die, man. They're going to kill him in there. He can't breathe. This is my 5-year-old brain thinking, right? They had drills and they were drilling holes in the casket to get him some air. That was so realistic. So that right there is permanently in my mind. That was like, 88, 89, 90, right around that time? I'll never forget that match. Like it was yesterday, I remember that. Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior, Undertaker, and then Stone Cold, Rock, that whole era. And of course, like NWO, that changed the game. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, that was a whole different thing. And then they brought in Hulk Hogan and NWO. Those days were something else. But those days are long gone. But yeah, that match right there, oh my God, they gonna kill him. Man, fun times. Thank you to S4 for the piece and the heart emoji. Appreciate you for that. Thank you to Urbano Rodriguez for the video game jumping emoji. Shout out to Mentalist Wife who says, times are going to get very serious. America is in debt. Invest in gold or silver, folks, because you will be bartering soon. Follow People's Convoy with Sasnak. Follow Juni's Maltby as well. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you. And that'll be a wrap. I'll be back again live on Saturday. And of course, all throughout the week with pre-recorded videos. But until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.